guys just captured was going to attack your character, and he was going to step in front. Yeah, he was going to attack your character directly.
You were fucking with Evan. I see what you're doing.
I know, but Evan was involved, so I couldn't steer it the right way. And so like I had to do it at the helicopter, but it was going to happen right on the dais during the main fight. Like right as he was about to hit you with this main attack, and you would have just been expecting to get obliterated. All of a sudden, he was going to be between you and take the hit and die. Like he was gonna be facing you, and it was just gonna like come in through his back.
I feel so used.
Yeah,
Len, Byron is basically just being mean to my character, so I'm glad you're here. Just stop him from ganging up on me. And now it's we got another one of our GMs. So, everybody, this is Len. So she plays on the Deadlands thing, and she runs the Den. I mean, Tyler, let's just have a meeting, Tyler. Let's talk to Len about
my heart. I would love to play. Do it again.
I think that I posit this. Hi, everybody. It's nice to meet you. I would like to
also, we're live.
Propose. Huh?
We're live too. So.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know.
I don't even care. Like.
Yeah. I propose that we kill off Matt's character because I don't know when he's ever coming back.
Matt's character is the greatest. How about this? Why don't we? We're on live.
We kill off all of our characters and restart.
No.
Okay.
Stop it.
No.
This is my soul character. Why don't we kill off anyone who's interfering with Matt's ability to play games?
Like in real life.
I mean, we just kill them all.
Life kill them all.
Yeah. No, with chainsaws. We just chainsaw murder everyone. So can I go around? So Tim, you're new to the game. Like. You're playing some Pendragon with us, right?
He's playing a game that barely exists right now.
No, it exists. Look, John's on, but he doesn't have video because he's driving to I don't know.
Pennsylvania.
That was painful. Are you driving to Pennsylvania through through hell? Or are you driving through a hellish vortex?
He's inside a toilet. Same difference.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Sounded like his phone was in a rock tumbler.
Eric's here. Eric has joined.
That was about as choppy as Twitch normally.
That's my fault. You're gonna make me throw up. Eric's here.
Eric.
So, Tim, tell us about you and you're joining the brigade, which is awesome. We're happy to have you. But tell us about your gaming shit that you do and how do they talk into this?
Yeah.
I'm the coolest.
Awesome.
For sure.
So I got into RPGs back in the D&D Red Box days, so that'll give you a sense of how old I am. And played for through Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then took a long time off and got back in when 5e came out. And I met Tyler and Byron, and
I'm so sorry.
We've just been, it has its moments. It culminated in being invited to be on this and to play in Pendragon. So I don't know if that's good or bad. But,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
either.
just.
What's funny, Tim, is I love the sort of Arthurian legend thing, but then when Byron, because Byron sets the bar up here, and I'm like, I don't know that I actually know enough about this to do this and serve. So I think I'm going to just be I'm going to have a horrible, I don't know, birth defects or something. Just be like, yes, my lord. I'll be like
Don't
that
worry,
guy.
Jason. I don't know anything about anything, and I'm in half the game, so I just show up.
Sweet.
You're the only one that's ever read the rule books, Tyler.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's
There's
fair.
rule books for this game?
No.
Well, Jason, the saving piece of this is that every game that I've ever started with Byron ends up somehow disappearing, and so there's a pretty good chance that we'll play once or twice.
No.
This will evaporate into the ether.
He's just trying to get you to buy another book, Tim.
So
I truly hope not,
Tara.
because I love Arthurian legends and myths. I'm like an absolute nerd about it, so
She's
I can't
number
wait
5.
to see what
Number
Byron
5.
brings to the table with this.
So sounds like
Number
Lenore
5.
should be the 5th player.
Or the first player, and the rest of us are like 3.
Let's just follow her around with lost
If
dogs.
she's that knowledgeable, she should GM it. I'll just play.
No, actually, But I'm like team like anti Arthur, anti Merlin. I'm like team like Morgana Le Fay, and like the women witches like definitely got underrepresented. So like you don't want me to run or be a character
All
that get
right.
made. I will be problematic.
And you step off my den, GM. God damn it! I figured to run the den before she can run Mandrake.
Seriously,
Yes.
I'm not even letting you off on this. Like, we need to finish. I need to know what's in the well. Tyler,
the
right?
well.
Oh,
Like,
just the well.
I don't even
just
care
the
if Tyler's. I love Tyler's character. We're down, but fuck him. Like, I need to know what's in the well. You know?
Matt is such an elusive human being that like he'll appear on my like Discord, and he'll just appear to like post a beautiful picture of an elk in the woods, and then won't say anything else for like a week. And we're like, Matt, you're alive. Oh, and he's gone. That's
There's been
it.
a sighting.
We need to
That's
hire
all we
someone
get.
to follow him around and just be his
He's like-
RPG like assistant. Be like, well, Matt says that he attacks. Okay, cool. Chase the elk, Matt.
Follow
Yeah.
him around like it's the Blair Witch Project.
Just a camera shoved up his nose.
All right.
Yeah.
So I have questions. I'm going to go around the horn, but there's actually money to be made here for those who stick around.
Brent.
Except for
Brent
John.
should be in here.
I know. Where's Brent?
Brent.
Brent or
Where is
I
Brent?
know.
Where's the Brent or not?
Yeah, he was all gung ho.
I know. He was like, "Oh, I'm so pumped, so pumped. I'm not gonna show up."
He's always a couple minutes
To
late.
be fair, it's 9:15, and he probably doesn't think we're on yet.
That's true.
We may not be. Has anybody checked? Because I might have hit the wrong button. I don't even know.
I mean, it showed up on my phone that we're live, but I haven't actually looked at it.
Yeah, but it might be wrong. Who knows? I'm bad at this.
That's
I'm
fair.
really bad at
Who
this.
else are we missing?
Rivers.
Mike.
Mike.
Where's
Mike.
Estes?
He'll be around. I'm gonna text that bastard. John, with an not an H.
Yeah.
Can you safely contact Estes and be like, WTF?
Yeah, I can work on that.
All right.
You give it to the one person who's actually driving.
He's
I
trying.
know. Don't crash the
And
toilet.
he showed up because he's
Now that's production.
one of my yeah.
The Twitch is working fine, Jason.
Well, that's.
Everything's good.
Oh, I didn't think to even ask that. That's good. So I have to ask.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Twitch is good.
I'm gonna start with Tim because I'm just going with the order of the whatever this is Zoom. What is your like favorite RPG moment of a game you played? Not like the whole saga, but like what's your favorite moment? Like what like was like oh awesome. And I'm gonna ask the rest of you, but constrain that to MythBrigade because you know it's a MythBrigade thing right now. What'd you do?
Yeah, I'm new to the group, so I don't. I mostly GM, but my favorite moment was in Avernus when Byron's what was that character? Cavalier went breaking across the courtyard and
She was a
chaos
pirate.
ensued.
He was a pirate.
The pirate, yeah,
He was a pirate.
yeah, yes.
To give a little more context, my dad's character ran through this entire building and activated every creature and continued to run away.
Like Leroy, you were Leroy Jenkins. You're just like, oh.
That's pretty much captured.
Now, hold on. Let's roll that back for a minute because that
In my
there's
defense, he
there's
says.
context even before that. Okay, so there were these two hellhounds that were on the stairwell in front of the doors to get into this place. Okay, and there's this courtyard. It's gigantic, and it's got ruins and trash and like brush and all kinds of shit all over the place. And so we needed a way to get into the place, and I'm like, I'll distract them. And I was like, I will run as fast as I can, and when I run, you guys make your way to the doors. I was trying to like put myself into like to sacrifice myself if need be to get the mission taken care of. And so everybody's like, all right, cool. Yep. Good. And I run and I start going and these two hellhounds start chasing me and not one fucking party
That's
member
not true.
moved to the door.
That's not true.
Like, no, everyone just stayed
I
there.
followed the plan.
Everyone just stayed there. And so I'm running around and they like eventually make their way to the door. and I'm running from hellhounds. I don't give a shit. So I blow past them into the building and activate like 5 other creatures because they didn't go in the door like they were supposed to.
It was an epic game of very dangerous tag.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then my character ran out the back of the building and died.
And truly
Classic.
epic death.
I'm gonna move.
That's questionable.
There was so my character's name was like if Jack Sparrow had an autistic retarded like half stepsister, that was my character. Seriously, yeah.
I love that character so much. I tried to bring it back or bring her back as a undead character.
Her name was Haley Cricket.
Nice. All right. So moving down. So Tyler, what favorite moment in a MythBrigade game that you've played, or any other game really? But like, tell us.
So I have to go with actually something very recent. Playing Red Rocket has been incredible. Oh my god, this character is like the essence of my ADHD. Like, and role playing with the guy who, after I broke his neck and peeing in fucking James's character's house, was incredible.
I love. So what's funny with that? I watch as I edit. I just sit there and laugh at you guys. Basically, I start the stream. It's the same thing in the Deadlands with Len and the others. Like I just laugh at you because it's just so good. But like, how mad James was at you peeing in his fictitious house. He was literally. I'm glad you weren't together because he might have fucked you up. He was so mad. I love it. Yeah. That was good. So I'm going to move to the next square. So, James, what about you? It can't be the same moment because that's going to get weird.
I did enjoy that one too. That was good. But I was trying to think back some of the comedy of error stuff that happened in the Warhammer Fantasy with like Oswald getting set on fire and stuff like that.
That was horrible. I think that's Byron, when you first started like being like, okay, I want to do MythBrigade stuff, is when we were fumbling our way through that game.
Yeah. And then I copycatted you, and I actually ran the same game you were running. I stole it. And I didn't know anything about it. But I ran the Tides of Nurgle game that you wrote, but I knew like none of the plot. And
that was the 5th book he got you to buy, Tim.
Tim played it.
Yes. Yeah, bought that book.
Playing it.
Bought that
did
book.
buy that
Yeah,
book.
was it all right? I don't know, because I don't remember how it was supposed to. I don't even remember how it ended. There's like a last episode I haven't edited. Oh, look how that's so good. That's so good. Nice. It was just pus and worms and stuff. Like, I just said gross stuff out loud. Like, I did that this last episode, Len. I'm like, it's been so long. I'll just say gross things and see if I can.
I even did your
How
recording.
gross can I get?
Your recording of Unter Wagner. I like.
He
played
did.
that.
He played it.
that.
He literally played you.
I stole that game.
Nice. All right. So, Tara. So, like,
Yes.
honestly, one of I'm gonna throw this out. One of my favorite.
I know you're gonna say you're gonna steal my answer.
No, so like the dichotomy between my character in Knights Black and Dr. Mitchell, because like the bonds and all that, it's so like spot on. But what about you? What's like a moment that you played that you really just loved?
One of my favorite was actually my character's interaction with you a few episodes ago, where the one that I played on the porch in the dark. In the fall.
Like this creepy head just floating around in the dark. Or
Right, it was awesome. Very, very low res, you couldn't see anything. But when we had that little battle of wills, and we both were kind of lost in our characters, and it was just a really great role playing moment.
I love that, and so it's funny. So Tara does this thing, and I don't know if you do it on purpose, but she does this scolding eyes, and you can't see each other's faces per se, like you don't know who's looking at who, but I feel it. Tara will be like, oh shit, like I shouldn't do that. Like, Dr. Mitchell's mad at me.
If you ever meet Tara in person, you get it all the time.
100%.
Some people deserve it all the time.
Yeah.
You have to give him that scolding look at Chaosium Con.
Yeah.
Shit, I will run. I will check out of my hotel early and run. Len,
Oh my.
damn it. So I have to say, Len, like one of the best GMs I've ever played with, and then like Ash is a mess, but she is she's so much more than what you had planned to be. But what's a moment that you remember? It's exciting.
I always play back in my mind just the chaos of the scene where after we escaped from the like tunnel where like Teddy died, and we're like on the run from this like giant mess of like things that are coming at us, and how poorly Ash did in that whole scenario, and then culminating with the doctor like riding off on, on Murph, and then also Dobbs just lobbing a grenade. Like the ultimate chaos of the Deadlands campaign. There are so many amazing moments, but that one always replays in my mind as just like everything went wrong for me, and then thank God Dobbs was there to just make sure everybody got out okay. Like it was just so rough, and I think that that's like one of my favorite just like clusterfuck moments.
What I love is editing those. So like you guys have the one-liners, and like this last one, Byron, I was working on it today, and I was shitting my pants. I was laughing so hard. It's so funny because like you always have these one-liners that are just exactly what they need to be, and I need a minute to get through it to carry the encounter forward. It's so good. Dan, what about you? I got a list. I have a list of high moments that involve Dan and his lectures. They're so like I love Johnny so much.
Well, let me impart. Yes. Well, I gotta say that with Nice Black's agent, I gotta say that I think it was you when you handed me the book and I read it, and we went off in that side adventure where I got to be like Austrian wearing lederhosen and doing calisthenics on camera. I had a ball with that. That was like I played a straight character for like a year, and now I got to like play this like sort of strange German fellow, right, who runs around and gets his head. So I had a great time with that, and it culminated with like virtually everyone, including myself, dying. So that was awesome.
It did. So what I love is it was Mula, right? And you're like, we're in this moment where we're fighting with ghouls, and Byron's like pulverizing my character, and you're just like, is there something to eat? I'm so hungry. Oh yeah. It's like spot
always
on.
Looking for the stats.
And the one accent I can't do for sure is I cannot do a German accent. I can't make it believable. And you were spot on. Like you come in and out of it as you needed to. What I love about Johnny though is like how fatherly you are, and how like you sort of somehow navigate the dichotomy between Dr. Mitchell and the disaster that is Evan, and then Tesla. And you're like, oh, now that's fine. Go ahead and make a bomb, Tesla, if that's what you want to do.
I sometimes feel like I'm the narrative glue between the like so bizarre personalities in the party. Like, just gotta make it all work together.
Yeah. All right, Eric, we're on to you, man. Your fucking background's spooking me out right now. But what's so Eric and I were just at his brother's house, where we were drinking very heavily, and we're looking at the clock house. Like, well, your brother's there, so your sister's house, your brother.
It showed you how much he was drinking.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know what it is.
He doesn't know whose house it is.
But it was amazing.
Where am I?
So we reached this point where we were just like, we gotta go, and we just ran different doors. No one stopped us. A moment that you're excited about.
I have two, if I may. One in Tides of Nurgle, where we were in a fight, and it was my character and Oswald, and we had this bond, where Oswald felt like I don't remember why the bond came in, but Oswald felt like he needed to show up the halfling in feats of strength.
And he's a human, and you were a little dude.
And he's a human, and I'm a little halfling, and we're in a fight, and he's getting his ass kicked, and I come up there, and I just trounce whatever it was that was kicking his ass. So that was hilarious. But I think one that slightly edges it out is in the new game, when Block's Girl turned into a hippo and ate somebody. Because I had this instant, immediate Jumanji flashback with Kevin Hart's character being eaten by a hippo, and it was crazy.
What was funny to me about that is as I pictured it, right? Now just think. So Block's Girl, for those who haven't been part of it or watched it, she had some like accident, and she can turn into Legos, or it's so fucking weird.
He's
But
actually made of Legos.
she's made of Legos, and
Yeah.
and Byron's just like, all right. Now this is the weird shit Byron says, because everybody else is like shooting people in the head and whatever, and Tyler's like running around.
Hey, I don't know about everybody.
Well, you're running around with your
My
penis
dick
out.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's like, so I think I'm just going to turn into a pink hippopotamus. And I'm like, and I'm going to eat that person.
As you will.
And what was amazing is like we paid like, okay, there's a news crew there. And the next episode we started with the footage, a shaky cam footage of this plastic hippopotamus straight up like smash eating this, it's squirting.
Dude, I love the recap of the news crew. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
These guys are heroes?
That was fun. That was fun. You and Eric actually. Well, I'll get to that in a second because I'm gonna. So John, can you unmute and share without wrecking?
Yeah, of course.
Hi, Sierra.
Yeah, hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine has been the Deadlands one where most memorable for sure was killing Teddy. It's the character that we grew to have like a little brother, and I think the moment that I thought forcefully but playfully threw him down a water slide wouldn't quite ended his death. And then that was one of those genuine role-playing moments where I literally went through like the phases of denial and anger and acceptance and bargaining. It was just such like a legitimate, all of us, I feel like, were just so shocked and surprised, and we're all handling it differently, both in real life and as our characters, because we've grown attached to them. So
Yeah.
by far my top memorable moment.
I felt bad because it was one of those moments where, as a GM, you're like, this is kind of going flat, so I'm just gonna say something out loud, make somebody make a roll, and yeah, John was like, I just shove him down this. I don't know, it was like basically like a water slide, right? Like this sort of cavernous, rocky thing. And he's an extra, so he can't take a wound. And I'm like, oh, and I forget what the roll you made was, but it was really bad. And so I'm like, okay, well, unless I'm gonna get yelled at by the internet for 6 months, he dies. And I'm like, oh, he was kind of a key NPC to this campaign. He had like this map. And actually that fuels one of my two favorite moments. One of them was the hippo one, and I could not stop laughing about that. I run inside, I'm like trying to tell everybody in my house about this, and they're looking at me like, you what? The fuck? Pink what? Are you
this Byron guy met a internet turned into a pink hippopotamus was eating people. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's like, what did you eat? Mushrooms or something? But then this moment where I come inside and I'm like, they were all so sad about this guy Teddy, and he's so dead. And like, then the next episode where you guys were extracting there was a shard of something that drove the map, and it was in his crotch. And if you go back and watch that episode, it's so funny how awkward all of you were as you're soaking this in. You're just like, like.
I can't remember. Didn't I end up doing something about it in the end?
Yeah, you did. You're like, oh, fellas, and you like pushed him out of the way and like carved out the. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's what I love playing Ash in that campaign, because it's just like there's like a really jaded, like weather-worn old lady who's just gonna be like, all right. That's kind of how I am as a person, though. Like, I'm very cheerful and happy and like friendly, but then when it comes down to it, I'm like always just like, all right, let's go. So I feel like it's so like accurate to me being that person in that campaign.
I just love her ghost rock addiction and just the situation that's going. Like, all right, other question. What is your favorite character?
I don't get a chance to share.
Wait, I thought you did. Okay, no, Byron, go.
He horned in on mine.
Fuck that guy.
In particular.
And he's gone. He's gone.
And Len, you're in charge now.
All right, Pink Hippo.
So, like Eric, there's so many like opportunities to like things that you could call out, and all the because I watched all the old streams from before I was actually on MythBrigade, plus playing a lot of the games and run them and so on. So I get to see a lot of the stuff that maybe might get missed by some other people or whatever. And so I have a couple of moments. So the one was before my time on MythBrigade.
There's no such time.
And so, yeah, there was. I was still the chat monkey.
When I was
like
you
telling
were.
you what was going on.
You were like my
like
only hope at understanding the rules behind that fucking system. I was just like, what does Black Hand Oracle say? Oh, okay. Thank you.
But
yeah.
So that one involved Corbin and John's character. I can't remember John's character's name.
Eshwin.
Geshwin.
And
he comes on like
Geshwin. and when he was like, Corbin, shovel.
Yes.
That was like
that one was great.
That was good.
When they're fighting the nerdlings and they didn't have any weapons, but John had somehow managed to use the shovel efficiently at some point, and then they got into the fight, and he's like, Corbin, shovel.
Yes, I love it.
I forgot that part.
That was good.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
One of my other ones was as a player, a moment I had with Lenore when we were getting into the doctor's compound, or we were trying to get into the doctor's compound, and and I was like, Ash is my sister, and Tom's trying. He was so socially awkward, he couldn't lie and or say anything. And it was just and Ash was just like, all right, no one's ever gonna hear about this, because I was carrying her character, and she's like, you're never gonna touch me ever again.
Yes. The thing that gets me with you guys in general is the one-liners, and actually Byron's a master of it. And like I wish Brent were here, and Dan, you'll remember, like he'll end shit, and we're all just like, no, and we're like throwing shit in the air because he's like, okay, so the vampire opens his mouth and twists your face around, and then, I mean, we're just gonna end the stream here, And it's just like, so I go, we'll play these through, and I run inside. I'm like, you wouldn't care what happened, so I'm not going to tell you. But, but I'm just like, shit. You go to edit it, and you're like, oh, what's going to fucking Byron? Oh, you son of a bitch. And all of us are just, yeah, that's awesome. All right. Who's your favorite character that you've ever played? I'm going to start with Tim again. Like of all times, no matter.
So I did a little stint playing a monk in a 5e game with it was the drunken style monk, and I was able to channel quite a bit of my history, partying a little bit into that character. Nice. And just loved really. Digging deep into the character's persona, so I think that would be it.
That is awesome, Byron. You're up.
Oh man, favorite character I've ever played.
Ever.
So many. That's such a hard question. Such a hard question. Shit. I don't know. You have to skip me. I don't know. I got too many. I got too many favorites.
Come back around.
I'm gonna go to Dan. Dan, you're up.
Just skip me like you did last time.
Check out, by the way, I just had to point out, Dan has some proper soundproofing. He's in what's a chamber where you go crazy if you're in there? What's that called?
An echoic chamber.
Sensory deprivation chamber.
There you go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and I start off insane, so it works out. Okay.
That's not a background for anyone who has never seen Dan's background. That's actually
that's a real thing.
Don't you have like a 16-foot wall, in your basement? That's all that.
Yeah, it's like this sort of giant.
He's in an actual underground bunker.
It's a murder wall.
In a bunker.
That was an Oasis
actually pre-COVID, believe it or not. So favorite character, actually, before we started, Tara mentioned Bridget. So Bridget ran, I think it's called the Glass House, which is where you're in this large sort of atrium that's all, and everything, and mayhem breaks out. So my favorite character there, I had a ball. She like clued me in, so I was going to be the character in the background who knew what was going on. So I got to feed players lines. It was great. We had a good time. Everyone died. You know, that goes for it. But Call of Cthulhu, right? So that's the way it's going to be.
Yeah.
Everyone's always going to die. Yeah. Good times.
Len.
Again, this question is like, it hurts my soul because I feel like if anyone watching this is from like my home games and I answer wrong, I'm going to get judged for it.
Oh, no.
But no, I feel like I'm copycatting Tim because one of my favorite characters of all time that I've ever had the joy to play has been a 5e drunken master monk. But he is also a Kenku, and in the 5e system, Kenkus can't speak like normal, so they have to use mimicry. And what I love most about him is that he's not only like a very obnoxious, like drunk bird who's just running around doing backflips all the time, he also like would just shout random shit, like anything that he heard, he would just shout it back at somebody. But he was like he had a really like complex background, and there's a lot of like stuff that we didn't really get the chance to like dive into during this playthrough, because at one point some of the other party members decided that they didn't like that he was a very like tactile character, and like to shut you up or like to get his point across, he would like backflip you, like not to hurt you, but he would just like do something like, you know, dragon tail you and just be like haha and then run away. And so somebody tried to cast chaos on him to change the way that he acted as a person, and then he had to dip out of the party because I was like, I'm not cool with this. And it was just a really cool like moment of role play that stemmed from like the mechanics of being a super tactile character, a drunk character, and also a character whose communication is like very interesting and hard to parse. So
yeah,
it was just like a really challenging and fun thing to play.
I dig it, and I think the Kenko in particular, like, so you can bring in different voices and mimicry and all these kinds of things, and yeah, and like out of context, speech and whatever. That's awesome.
I confessed that I had a meme soundboard on my phone.
No, that's
good.
Dude, that's extra. That's like I would be that. I'd be like,
that's awesome.
Where's that?
I would have loved to have seen that.
Oh, and his name was Ceviche. He was the best.
Ceviche.
Nice. Tara, you better say Dr. You better say Dr. Mitchell's all the time. But well, yeah. Who's your favorite character that you've ever played?
I'll couch this with most of the vast majority of my RPG history has been one shots. So those I think are sometimes more fun for playing characters because you take risks and do things that you wouldn't normally, and
you're like, fuck it, this is a one shot.
Yeah. and to that end, one of my favorite characters I've ever played was Tigger in Byron's
play that game.
Yes.
This character, what do you call the game?
100 Acre Wood.
Okay. 100 Acre Wood. And so the context is you're the Winnie the Pooh characters, and one of you has gone missing and you have to find her because it's her birthday. And so horrible things befall the group. And I got to play Tigger, and one of Tigger's abilities, his special ability was that he got a bonus to success on any roll if he said blah 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 is what Tiggers do best. So
he could actually, so his special ability, not to interrupt you, his special ability is that he can do anything. However, he has a 20% chance of success only if the person says, because that's what Tiggers do best.
Right. That's what Tiggers do best. So every goddamn thing I did was that's what Tiggers do best. We shot for birthday presents the best. We jumped. We rescued friends from holes. It was everything. And the best part of the whole scenario for me was we found we needed to make a TARDIS. When it wasn't called a TARDIS, but that was our plan. We were converting this toy box that we found into a TARDIS because we needed the time travel, and we painted it blue, but we needed a screwdriver that made funny noises, and who will make the screwdriver noises? And of course Tigger will, because that's what Tiggers do best. and I fucking critted it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
And it turned into a real TARDIS.
So what they actually stuck in the TARDIS was Christopher Robin's grandmother's body. They had to get rid of it. They had to get rid of it so the cops didn't arrest Christopher Robin for murder.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
I love that.
Dude,
Right?
I hope you haven't
Dark,
ruined the
man.
ending of that game.
Yeah, I was gonna say
They sent it to another world. They sent the body to another
you
world.
need to run
I
that
need
on
to-
the channel.
Because-
that would be fun.
Because
I need to play in a Byron campaign.
Yeah.
because the only character that could actually do anything, like could actually affect the game, was of course Gopher, because Gopher's not in the book, so he could break the fourth wall like Deadpool, and so he was actually able
I'm
to
gonna interrupt
go
you.
out
Wait.
of Christopher Robin's mind.
I'm gonna interrupt you. Brent has arrived. Let's all just let's
And
salute him.
so has the wonderful Nick Roy.
What's up, Nick?
The
Let's
one
just-
and only.
Yeah,
Let's-
thank God.
Oh,
The
hey.
other one is here too.
Yeah.
Here comes
The,
Autumn.
the better half.
Oh,
This is my son Nick and his
nice.
girlfriend
What's up?
Autumn.
Also, both really good role players, by the way.
Yes.
Come on.
Awesome.
Nice
Bring
to
it
see
on.
you guys again, Byron and Tyler. How you guys been?
Nice to see you also.
Yeah,
Wonderful,
right.
wonderful.
Like that.
Welcome to the cast of Myth Brigade.
Right? Bring it on. And you
Last time I
arrived.
saw you, you were in a chair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And your leg was
I
broke.
actually have a working ankle now. It's pretty
Oh,
sweet.
shit.
Hell yeah.
that's amazing.
Well,
Yeah,
you-
your mom joined a campaign for a 2 or 3 episode game. We're going on like 24 episodes in a year and a half.
Fair
He's
enough.
A small
It'll
campaign.
be quick. 5 or 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's
You know
true.
by now.
You arrived
Okay.
just in
I'll be
time
right
to
back,
witness. No worries. You arrived just in time to witness the arrival of Brent on the Brinternet.
Brinternet.
How are you, man?
That Brett
The worst internet.
So I'm gonna put you on the spot. So we were going around the horn, and I was asking like, who is like your favorite character that you've ever played? Any game, ours, yours, whatever. Go. What is it?
For me
Yeah.
in particular.
Yes.
Okay. So I played in Pathfinder a long time ago. I played a paladin, Asimar paladin, who definitely played up the whole lawful stupid thing, and it was really fun. Probably my favorite character I've ever played. Followed closely by I played a bard who became a king in Osirian in Galarian, that setting. So it was pretty cool. Like I dug it a lot. It was one of my favorite campaigns ever.
It's one of
So
the things I
definitely
miss.
those two are
I
up
miss
there. Yeah.
of like the long-term characters, right? Where you know, like when we were kids and we would play like on the weekends for like 24 hours or something, and your characters persisted over years and they became something. And like even now, you're like you know where they're at. They're like, oh, I mean, he's getting kind of old, but you know, he's got prostate problems or whatever, but he's still in it. He's doing the thing. But we don't do that anymore. We should, you know, we got to just make sure our campaigns go. Byron's like, oh, it's almost over. Byron, no, it's not. We're like at the, we haven't even begun. This is the prelude to Night's Black. Like 300 more episodes. Shit. It's
I
awful.
thought you wanted to play this Pendragon game.
Yes, what about this Pendragon?
Let's not hold high hopes for that.
Dude.
I'm still waiting to get into one of those long Byron games.
There are other.
They happen.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Ish.
James. James,
It did.
favorite character, favorite character you've ever played, no matter what.
Yeah, it's hard to pick, but I'm really digging Mordred in this game now. But
He's
picking
a bit of
previously
a
characters.
dick, isn't he? A dick. He's kind of a dick, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Hey, hits like a fucking truck.
The Citizen Slayer.
This is
Like
a
Mordred.
Slayer.
Mordred, what do you think we should do to solve this problem? I'm gonna murder everybody. That's what we should do.
Just find the biggest thing and pick a fight with it.
Yeah.
It's not even pick a fight. There's no fight. They never get a chance to think. We're like, I'm like sitting here. I'm like, my character does 3d6 worth of damage, and then James goes and he's like, yeah, I hit him with my sword after I jump off my motorcycle, and I do 98
I
points
know.
of damage.
And then the aces, and you're just like, as a GM, you're like, okay, the rules just fuck me over here because I don't even have, I can't even fudge this. Like, all right, well, the main bad guy dies right away, and his mobs are,
Cool.
you know, they serve you ice cream. Is that what you want? You want ice cream?
Let's make
Roll
it
20
challenging.
has been
encounter.
generous.
Everybody else dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mordred walks off into the sunset with everyone's head.
One of my favorite moments was the last that we played last night, the Deadlands campaign, and one of the main bad guys just swatted Byron's character Dobbs, who is just a tank. But it was one swat, and it was so funny because Byron's just like, oh shit, that's how it can go, because it was just like, bah! And he's stunned or whatever. Obviously, you won in the end, but it was just so funny. The look on your face, you're like, oh. This is what happens when, okay.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah, that's
happens.
why I just stayed there and didn't spend a penny to unshake. I'm like,
Yeah.
nah, I think I need to consider my options.
I was trying to like, come on, bring it. Spend your fucking bennies, dude. Nice.
I
Tyler.
was thinking of
Oh, go
Lord
ahead.
Gary from Dark Heresy, Lord Garrett.
That dude was a bastard. So James, we played Dark Heresy for a while before we were streaming. And I love that. I love that entire fiction. It's so good. It's just gnarly. And James has a habit of taking gnarly like to a different extreme. You were an evil bastard. Like what was your thing? You were like an assassin or something?
Yeah, he was an assassin, but it wasn't evil. I was like, as far as our favorite moments, I also recalled the time we Eisen wiped out a city block on accident.
So there's a thing in that system called the Perils of the Warp. Yeah, did you see what happened with Dan? He just created
That was the greatest trick ever. It's like magic. I didn't know it was gonna
I'm so
a
confused.
wizard.
Yeah, he'll do that once in a while. We're playing a Night's Black, and there's this.
You'll literally not even know he's there.
Yeah, he glance
or
up.
not there.
But yeah,
Freeze
so
on himself again.
there's like
Yeah.
a thing for psychers, right? Where if you roll a certain way, then you have to roll on the Perils of the Warp table, representing the randomness of like these powers. And Eric's character at this moment tries to use some sort of psychic ability and fucks up, and then has to roll on this table. And it's in a moment where, like, as a GM, you're like, oh, Christ, could we just get past this? Could we just maybe get past the convenience store encounter or whatever we're in? And he rolls this thing where, like, I forget what it was, but, like, everyone within, like, a city block or something dies.
It's a huge radius and a little bit of damage, and it doesn't matter for characters, but, like, the
Yeah.
general populace would just be killed by it.
And I think that's the last session we played where there's this awkward moment where I'm like, all right, well, this is going to get weird. You're trying And that's what's hard. And Byron, I don't know how you deal with this, or Tim or Len, but like when you're running a game and you know there's like this sort of administrative shit that would happen in that moment, and you don't want to slight that because then you're just so far like away from reality. But then it's like, well, all right, let's role play the interview that you have with the cops about this. It's how you're the only, you know. How would you deal with that, Byron or Len? Len, you were going to talk. How would you?
I
deal
was
with
just gonna say, I live for that. Like that's part of what I think like makes TTRPGs like so interesting, is because like sometimes you do have to like parse the actions of the characters in a certain way, and sometimes they just have to like talk to like random people or like explain their actions, and you're like, how do you do that? No, tell me, I want to know.
Yeah. And James would just be like, I don't know, just tell him all these people died and it's Eisen's fault. And Eric's character could be like, what the fuck?
So how I dealt with it is I wrote another game. I wrote the sequel. That's what I did.
You just let him
so I wrote the sequel where you have to deal with the fallout of the problem.
Yes.
So I ran a game. It was called Duty and Despair, and the game was basically half of the party was 2 Roman legionnaires and a priest of Mars from Roman era times, where they were actually fighting a wizard or an Egyptian priest, basically of Ra, that was killing all of the Romans and so forth in this battle, and they ended up getting turned to stone by the wizard, and so they get found, they get found like thousands of years later, and they get put in a museum, and they're like the most lifelike statues in existence because like they literally were people, you know what I mean? And so, but there was also this giant lion that was it actually was a hound of Tyndallus, but it had eroded away and stuff like that, so they thought it was a lion. And they were in the Museum of Metropolitan Art, and they had put this priest's sarcophagus on display and stuff like that for this new opening, and it managed to basically bring the priest back to life. And so he cast a spell to bring his animal back to life, his hound of Tyndallus, to be his minion. And when he did that, he brought the Roman legionnaires and stuff back also. And so the other half of the party were the archaeologists and so forth, and the security guards at the Museum of Metropolitan Art when it happened the night before the thing. And so, they're trying to speak to this Roman legionnaire who's, speaking in Latin, and they're like, yeah, no one has spoken Latin in a long time. And so at the end, they have one, they're like, they shoot, like, a couple of the characters die, and some of them get shot with the security guard's Glock, and like one Roman legionnaire is like naked holding a big spear, and he's out in the middle of the road, and they call the police. And so the police come, and he just ends up being this John Doe because like no one can speak to him. You know what I mean? They put him in a thing, and Delta Green actually comes in and takes this guy and puts him in this like remote place where no one can get to him. And so the sequel is actually it's called oh god, what is the name of it? Cold Case. And it is a group of Syracuse, New York students that are investigating the murders at the Museum of Metropolitan Art. And they get given this cold case by accident. The lady didn't feel like reaching for the top box, and so she got this box and gave it to the professor so he could give it to his students. And they go through trying to find this stuff out and stuff like that.
I think
it's really cool.
I like
and
that.
It is the heaviest. I know that Tara has played it. I'm pretty sure that Dan has. Tyler's played it probably 5 times. Brent's played it, but
I've played games.
I actually, one of my buddies, Richard Ferris, is what is he? He's a paralegal for the in Buffalo, New York, for the state prosecutor, and he helped me write the legal documents. And I actually wrote the entire case docket, including pictures, photographs, evidence bags, everything. And so I literally have all this stuff in the box, and I just set it on the table. Ooh. And the characters get to use their characters to basically deal with what's in the
that
box.
game had some of the best props I've ever seen. Like that had great props. In fact, it might be the best props other than like the LARPs.
You would not believe how cheaply those props are made.
Yeah, but still, but still though, like man, it was a lot to go through, and it was a lot to digest, and like the information was in there. Like you just needed to comprehend it, you know.
Everything is literally a clue. Like the witness statement from John Doe is missing, but it's alluded to in the document. So because Delta Green stole it, and so you have to go through like you can't second guess anything as you're looking at it. It's got all of the autopsy reports and the pictures of the bodies, and it actually has Polaroid pictures of like different bodies and stuff like that. It's really cool.
I think for me, I think one of the if you look at speaking for those who weren't here, Mike and Stephen Edley, who it turns out he's like a stand-up comedian, and so I'm gonna post that. You guys got to watch it. But so the cult campaign, there was no plot, none. Like I had no fucking idea beyond the beginning, like the scene under the overpass or whatever. And they were so compelling as just the two of them playing off of one another. where like I could just sit back and take notes as to what was going on between the two of them, and a plot emerged. And in the end, it was one of the better campaigns I've ever run, and I had nothing to do with it. I was literally like a passenger along. It was so good. Who was it? Tyler. Favorite character ever?
Favorite character ever. So I have this nice folder right here. I'm gonna start the story. So me and my dad were getting really into Pathfinder Society, and we would go all over the place. We'd go to conventions, we'd go to different shops, and we'd play. And our characters were always kind of opposite each other in a way. So we decided to make a family in game. So the first character we made, his name was Gobert de Clement. I have a little display board right here.
Holy
There's,
shit!
Like, family schedule.
Are you hanging on a little?
Like his faction.
Look, I have his underwear and his baby shoes. Like you were serious about this guy.
Oh yeah, I have his baby shoes and.
Oh my god.
So we decided to make an entire family. So me, my dad, and my brother would travel around to different game stores and they really play this Pathfinder Society family. And so he's a 6th level Cavalier Emissary. And we would travel around, and then I got to implement him into Kingmaker.
Oh, nice.
So I took his entire life of all the adventures he went on with the Pathfinder Society, and me and my dad wrote his entire backstory and then implemented him into the Kingmaker campaign.
That reminds
So I'd have
me.
to go with that.
Yeah. That's like the long-term campaign stuff. Like Eric and where you can sit down with someone who you won't freak out and be like, hey, let's talk about my character.
Here's all of his Pathfinder Society sheets. Wow.
Holy shit.
He's played a couple times.
My before I head out, because I do have to leave, but I just want to like pop it in here, like in the ether of this community, is that guys, let's play some Pathfinder.
I would fucking love to play some Pathfinder.
Let's play some Pathfinder.
Len, you gonna run Pathfinder?
Len, yes, Len.
I could try
for that.
I love me some Pathfinder. Such a
Pathfinder is my favorite system ever.
Len, could you
found
maybe
it over the
do
past few years,
like a 7 to 9 player Pathfinder campaign? It's
We're just gonna get everyone that's in the call right now into your Pathfinder campaign.
You know,
right?
I'll start working on it. I don't know. I might have to use a written campaign, but I feel like that's.
I mean,
for Pathfinder.
I feel like
so
I'd be
much better.
heartbroken, but I might be okay with not playing the Den to play some Pathfinder.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'll keep that in mind.
Listen, you motherfucker. Not until we figure out what's in the. I mean, listen. If we get in the
Jason,
well and it's
you will
boring,
never know. What's
if
in
it's
the well.
boring, if we listen.
We can play one more session, just me and Jason,
Okay.
and we'll go in the well.
Listen, if we go down the well, and let's just play it out. If we go down the well and we get down there, and there's like
Right now, we're doing it right now.
no, Tyler,
I gotta start
listen.
doing prep for that
we
campaign
go in-
right
I got
now,
dice.
so that I can put something really cool in the well. Because I feel like I was looking at my notes, I'm like,
No, we go in
This is
and
what's
like
in the
let's just say at the end, it's just an Amazon gift card. And we're just like, all right. And then we leave.
Right.
We can-
Split it.
I am not going to be okay because I was hanging into the well. And Len's like, we'll stop the stream right here. And Matt's like, fuck them. And then we're just like, what's in the well?
you will maybe someday find out what's in the well.
Is there a plumbing problem in the well? And that's what we're all about? Like, is there somebody... God, that's my sole character, Len. That's all I'm saying.
It's been a pleasure to meet you all and to celebrate a few minutes of the holidays with you guys. I have very much love in my heart for all of you, and I wish you a happy holiday.
Yes.
Happy
Festivus.
Holidays.
Bye.
See you, Len.
I'm gonna join Lenore in dropping as well. It's been great to meet everybody.
Do it.
Catch you all in the spring with Pendragon.
Yes.
If you need any 40K or Warhammer or Cthulhu books that Byron has tricked me into buying, hit me up on the side.
Nice.
I'll cut you a deal.
Great to meet you, man. Welcome aboard. I'm excited for you to probably kill my character
Yo,
at
it's-
some point.
Thanks, gang.
All right. Eric, favorite character you've ever played? I think I know the one. Maybe I don't.
That's really hard because I've been through so many characters, and some are like long-term characters, and some I got to play for a short period of time, but they had, such potential. So it's really hard to pick one, but
fucking do it.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna throw a wild one out there and say Elias was a lot of fun.
Oh my god, I hate you
Just
so much.
because
I hate that character.
I got to do whatever I wanted with him.
So the backstory of Elias is he was a mage, and this is like 2nd edition D&D, and we went. I mean, it was all about the story.
Old Forgotten Realms stuff.
Yeah, and we signed up. I signed up for like, okay, that's a great idea. It was he's the one that aged backward and forward. He was cursed.
Yes, right? Yes, he was cursed.
So we explained. So he was advanced with magic. So, but because he had aged to a point where he was like an archmage, but then his curse was he would start aging backwards and he was losing his shit. And so this had happened for like hundreds of years.
700 years.
Yeah. And so he was batshit crazy, which explained his alignment. So he wasn't necessarily more capable than any other mage, but what he was is a nightmare to like... I hate you so much. That character was awful. He was great. You played him well, but like any moment you're like, okay, hey Thorg. It is for the rest of us. Happy Festivus. We're just talking about characters and stuff. But I there were so many points where I tried to kill Eric's character. We were kids back then. And I would like bring all the rules out, and he would always have like that moment where he's like, nope, you can't kill me because if you turn to page 700, I'm like, I hope you die. I love you as a friend, but I hope you die on your way home. Like this character.
Found all the loopholes.
You were terrible.
Had all the crazy ideas.
Okay, if that's your favorite character, I'm going to move to Brent. Brent, God damn it, say Tesla, because I love Tesla.
Sorry.
He's my favorite.
I do like Tesla. Oh, okay. I'll let you go into specifics. So, other than like Tesla, I do find that the characters that stick with you are the ones that still had a story to tell. Those are the ones. So, I had this bard, Aasimar bard, which later on I found Aasimar as of course, Pathfinder. Found Aasimars to be extremely corny and ended up disliking them, but that's a different story. We were in an Osirian campaign, and we happened to get into a situation where we had an extreme chance of death. And we happen to have the deck of many things. Now, I hate that item.
That's so good, though.
Like it's a terrible item. But I was like, well, we're about to die, so I de-doored away, and pulled 4 cards. And all the ones I pulled basically gave me a pile of money, but made my magic items disappear. And then the one is I became the Lord of the Land that I was in. And so we were in this Osiriani city called On, which is like the 2nd largest city. And so that's how my character became the king of a city. And the whole rest of the campaign had me making political ties and getting involved in an arranged marriage and all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason why he's still my favorite character is not only was like, did I kind of steal the spotlight, which is, you don't necessarily as a player want to steal the spotlight from everyone else, but it was like it kind of happened anyway.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, we failed. Like we let the spawn of Rovagug, the one of the biggest, baddest, evilest things, hatch in the center of the planet. Like we fucked up, and so the end of the campaign was me doing an evacuation plan and basically opening a portal using the spell Fey Gate to go into the Feywilds, like the Fey world of Galarian, with a lot of people, and that's where we ended it. It's basically evacuating the city to another dimension, and then boom, the end of the campaign, and all of Galarian blew up in that campaign.
I think
so.
It's
yeah,
crazy.
so it was like he has more stories in my head canon that I want to continue. But that campaign was definitively ended, and the guy had a kid. Like the guy who was running it had a kid, and never came back to regular GMing after that.
I love that. So I had a similar thing. A character in Eric, you'll remember playing Greyhawk, right? It was like D&D second.
Oh,
no,
that
it was maybe
forever
first
ago,
edition.
yeah.
And I had this character called Mortimer Elestrial, and he was this elven
Yes.
wizard, right? And this was back, actually, a funny story about you, and like the first game I ever played that somehow got me hooked on this, which was Chaos, but thank you. But anyway, Mortimer got a Ring of Wishes. And I like, this has been like, as a player, if you've not ever stayed up late trying to figure out how to form one sentence that will get you all that you want with a Ring of Wishes, one wish, like in a single sentence, like using all the power of the English language, right? Like, then you've not played games. But so I wished, and I made a critical mistake in underestimating the amount of a dickhead that our GM was, or DM. But I was like, hey, so basically, I'm going to wish for a fantastic, because he's a wizard, I want this fantastic tower right in downtown Greyhawk. And I want for everyone to know that it belongs to Mortimer Elestrial, because he was an egotist. So, because James Walker, if you ever watch this, I got my tower in the middle in the middle of Greyhawk Arena. If you look at the map, they should add that, right? It's like Wizards should add. So in the middle of the arena, and every brick and every surface, it was like Mortimer Elestrial's brick, Mortimer Elestrial's door, like you could see it in weird script. And so the authorities had
Elestrial's wall.
Yeah, so the authorities had no problems figuring out who they needed to murder for erecting a tower with magic in there. And then there was this dickhead goblin that lived there that I had to deal with, like outside of, like, you know, we'd be playing normal adventures, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and he's like, well, the thing is, the goblin that lives there has rearranged blah, and you don't know where your magic items are or whatever. That was murder. Thorg says you needed a lawyer to use wishes. You still do. I think that's true. Who did I miss? Tara, did you tell us about your favorite character? You did?
I talked about Tigger.
Oh, you did. You were early on. Yeah.
Are you talking about 100 Acre Woods?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, but
that's a fun game.
I can tell you about, it's not my favorite character, but one of the best times I ever had was with Byron. Actually, the first time I ever played with Byron as a fellow player, instead of having him as a GM, I sit at the table, like, oh, cool, there's Byron. That's awesome. You know, we knew each other a bit from that point. It's like Origins, 2017, 2018. It's a pulp Call of Cthulhu Western, right? And I think I'm playing somebody named Rooster Cogburn or something. And I'm playing him somewhere between Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights and Mr. Meeseeks off of Rick and Morty. It's like, ooh, little baby, yeah. Let me blow his head off. You know, and you know, Byron's like right fucking there. Every time I'm regressively pulling us down to like 7 years old, Byron's like, no, 5 years old. And we're like, we were bouncing off each other, Byron. I think we were annoying the DM a bit.
We were. Jonathan Meadows had no idea what was going on in that game. Yeah. And so Tara, just for some, and also Brent and Tyler would know who these people are. So the two of the other players at the table were Brian and Chantel Kapustik.
Oh yeah!
Oh my god, it was so fucking amazing.
They're good. They're good players.
They played twins.
Really good time.
They played twins in a cult game.
Yeah.
That I ran we did a cabin con.
The cabin con.
And I ran this cult game that was a Cuban
you were
dinner.
Creepy, man.
It was so Cuban. It was a Cuban dinner party. And I actually we made the dinner, and that's what we ate while the game was going on. So the game goes on during a 7-course meal, and I actually made the entire 7-course meal.
He did,
and like we had it as it was going. We were role playing
cabin in the woods,
eating at the same time,
in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And they were twins. And they were literally finishing each other's sentences and shit. It was fucking creepy as shit.
If I could ask, can we get proof that they made it out of that session? Because they're the only one. You keep talking about them, but I've never met them. I met the rest. Are they dead?
So they're always busy.
They are very, very busy.
Always busy.
And Brian's healing for medical stuff right now.
Shit. Yeah.
Okay. So.
Does are they professors? I know they're teachers, but
Chantel teaches. Yeah, they teach at a boys' boarding school on the far side of Pittsburgh.
Oh, God.
And she teaches English and he teaches theater.
Okay, gotcha.
And they are just
They're the fucking best.
fucking
So one of my
believable.
favorite characters of other people was in a cult game that Bridget and Chantel and Byron and I played.
Mitchell Wallace.
With
ran
Mitchell
that game.
Wallace.
Oh, Mitchell
The first time we played under him, and it was, I mean, that was a fucking phenomenal group. The four of us, we had a great time. And she played a cop. And I could see, we were on video, and you could see her sit at the table, and you could just see her drop into character. Like, she grew to this cop's height. She assumed this physical attitude. Like the set of her jaw was different. Suddenly it was much more square than it started. And she was just amazing.
You know what's funny?
That's where that was the campaign, or the short campaign where the Bridget's t-shirt, I like my coffee like I like my cops, Irish.
I saw that quote.
Yeah.
So this is Chantel in she's playing the like Hetty Green. She is
she's the one in the black.
She's the one in the black. And she's playing Hetty Green, this railroad baroness that murdered her husband.
Oh my god!
For a thing.
You gotta show the picture of Brian now.
I know. I know the next picture that's coming.
Fuck yeah!
I will. So and
you gotta
her
show
husband,
before and after though.
Oh my god! I don't know if I have a before.
Facebook.
Brian.
Yeah, probably.
Literally went to a barber the day of this LARP.
So he is playing
his fucking head.
He's playing a very dumb character named Diggs.
Well, hold on. Let's start off with he's like 7 feet tall.
Diggs, who is a 7 feet tall grave digger, and that's
Brian
him with
himself is like 7.
his little plastic shovel.
Right.
Oh, nice, nice.
You've got to have the. That was one where what's his name was playing the ghost and whispering in his ear.
Yeah. And so he named the armadillo. You remember the armadillo I had originally in my background on the Deadlands campaign? Jason.
Yeah.
Remember that, the little armadillo? Yeah, he's the one that named it. That was his favorite armadillo. that was the armadillo's name. Armadillo.
So, I was gonna say earlier, Tara. So you were talking about cult, and what I found with that game is it pushes role players if you do it right. So never, and honestly, I love playing with all of you guys, and like I get so immersed, especially in Night's Black, because they're the like with Tesla in particular. Like I love Brent, but like we just like
you don't need to show me in there, Brian.
I hate to interrupt you, Jason.
Just focus on Brian.
This picture is of 27,
26 players
26
and 5
player LARP.
Five GMs, Wild West LARP.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that was fun.
It was the last LARP we put on.
Yeah, we actually built 8-foot Wild West walls.
Me and my father were in our garage for like 2 weeks straight, basically, building 8-foot Wild Western walls. Like, we were cutting out things, putting jail bars in so you could peek out. Like, those are the 8-foot walls.
It's like your neighbors are just like, okay, either they're LARPers.
One of the Origins group meeting rooms. The whole thing was sectioned up into like 8 different rooms.
About 8 different places, and each one of the locations had a GM in it.
Yeah.
There were like 5 or 6 locations that all had a GM station to be there to watch role play and be able to adjust for roles.
Oh no, there were more than that, man, because you had the schoolhouse, you had the general store, you had the bar, you had the
it was legit. I took for granted a lot of those LARPs and shit, and then all this stuff happened, and it's like, man, I really haven't done any of that in like years now. Sucks.
You know what's funny is we ramped up, I think, when right at the beginning, Byron, right, like when COVID just started to get kind of bad, and it was part of me is like, no, this is good. Like, I don't want to lose these guys. Like, don't go back to your normal lives.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, I don't want people to continue croaking or whatever.
Well, hey, the good side of this current COVID surge is we're probably going to be back on lockdown soon.
I know.
So
it's like, woohoo! I just need to stay on top of my edits.
I know, me either.
I know.
What was
these
that
are
period, right? That went on for
so
like 3 or
this
4
is
months.
their
where everyone
Yeah,
was
that's
helping.
a good one.
this is their winner's picture. Let's see if I can actually pull it in. So Brian is holding I can't remember the name of it, but it's a famous sculpture of like a horse with a rider on it. So it's a trophy we gave away for the best thing. And then Chantel is holding it's a 1905 dime store Wild West novel
Oh, nice.
that my buddy Matt McLeod found in Kentucky, and we gave it away as like the prize.
I didn't,
But
you
they
didn't
won.
realize she sold
He's
that
giving
for
away
like
some pretty cool
70
prizes.
Look at
yeah,
that
70
face,
grand.
dude. That face is like, what?
What, bitch?
I channel a lot of him for Dobbs.
Yeah.
I
They
do.
are freaking fantastic
Yeah,
actors. And
they
role
are.
Yeah, they are. They really are. They
Yeah,
pretty
they're-
much.
That's normal then.
Yeah.
So Chantel
Yeah,
was
there we go.
invited to be in a Viking LARP. Okay, so it was the invitational before the last one. It
No,
was
that was too.
was it?
hold on.
Yeah, it was the one before. The
No,
Viking
no,
LARP
no.
was,
The Viking LARP was
It was the one before.
was the one before. So, but anyway,
Is that
the
called
one
a
before-
VLARP?
the one
Is
before
that
the
technically a
Ragnarok
VLARP? If it's
Was
a Viking, it's a VLARP.
guitar.
but it was 3 8-player tables with 3 GMs all running the LARP, and Chantel got her character. These characters had like 8-page backgrounds.
You get the
Like,
character.
like
If you were
8-page
lucky, you
backgrounds.
get your character about a month in advance.
No, you got
If
yeah.
you were
But,
lucky.
well,
If you were lucky. If you were lucky. If you were
Sometimes,
unlucky, you'd get it the day before.
So Chantel got like literally we had a cancellation and I needed somebody to fill the slot, and I walked out into the lobby of Origins and I looked over and I saw her and I was like, "Do you want to play in this game? We'll play like right now. I got a character for you. Like you got to come. You got to decide right fucking now. We're already
Yeah.
for the
10
next
minutes
6 hours.
past-
Go to the bathroom.
10
That is so
minutes
Byron.
past launch time. Like I need a player now." And she got in this game, dude, and she played a Scald. And so she was basically a Viking bard. And at the end of the game, they had to stand in front of Heimdall and say all of the deeds that their Viking party had done at the table. And they had to try to sell their way as to why they belonged to cross the Bifrost into Valhalla. And she went on this like 15-minute like bardic thing, completely like she was a skald from Viking era that wrote this fucking thing. The entire like I couldn't fucking believe it. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Dude,
How
so
did you do that?
it goes back to what I was saying earlier. To Tara's point is cult. So I want to I had to it was like that took me to a dark fucking place. That campaign was weird, but and they drove it. They and if you go back,
We tried to get Brent to counsel us afterwards.
if
Right.
yeah,
I just couldn't do it that day.
yeah,
I was
if
working
you go back
but man,
and watch
that
that campaign,
sounded good.
yeah, if you go back and watch that campaign, it evolved based on them and their emotions, and we all wound up like needing to step away from games for a minute because it's just that dark. But the thing that struck me
Right.
is
You guys
how
are fucking weak.
Oh no! Just because how
must be it.
fucking in it Mike was, because I decided early. I wasn't sure how, but Mike's character was at the center of the nonsense, and the rest are peripheral characters. And I didn't tell them that. It just worked out that way. But like Steve's character, he had never played a role-playing game before, and I have never witnessed a more honest like performance. Like he played a heroin addict that was like, you know, just this fucking heroin addict dirtbag. Yeah, and then just like these moments where he's looking at his track marks, and they're like kissing at him and shit in the bathroom. And his reactions were so genuine. He would text me afterwards and just be like, "Dude, I don't know about that shit. That was fucked up." Like, that game. Like I really think
Welcome to Cult.
yeah, if you can play a campaign of that, and I think like every role player should play a campaign of Cult if you can tolerate the darkness of it. And because it takes you.
I mean,
awful place.
Yeah, man. Byron ran some good ones that we still talk about.
The one that Tara's talking about is the one that I ran up in Youngstown. where I brought the tablecloth and all that stuff, and I ran the Oakwood Heights is the name of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's very good. But I had already played in it I had already ran it when I played in it, and so I knew the game.
Yeah.
And Mitchell Wallace like did all kinds of shit that just was not even in the game. And he was just amazing. And I could tell he was just off the cuffing it.
Yeah.
And it was, but unless you knew the game, you would have no idea that he was just making shit up off the top of his head. He's such a phenomenal GM.
There was this moment in, what was it, the Beneath These Streets or whatever I called it. And again, it started with, let's get together. They picked a timeline, was the 80s. They wanted to be homeless people, and I'm just like, oh, this is getting really weird. Like, how do I make this work? But there's this moment where they had tracked the situation back to this sort of like 1980s style factory or whatever, and they're there, and CJ, who wasn't necessarily the most engaged role player, but I think it freaked him straight the fuck out because he's having this conversation with this dead guy. You remember this, Byron, because you were on the stream just being like, what the fuck? And it starts to it's trying to French kiss him. And it's the larva becomes a fly. The larva becomes a fly. It's just like, I have no idea what's
crazy.
It was weird, but what I love about that game, and I think that everyone should play it so that they can put that in their games, whatever system they run, is it just is about the story. It doesn't give a damn about the rules and the experience points. It's about moving the story forward. And like, but then you end a session, and I left games, Tara, like, oh, we got to follow. Hi, Tedder. What's up, man? Happy, I don't know, Festivus or whatever.
Holidays.
Yeah, I don't know.
Happy horror days.
Yeah,
Happy non-denominational
Honda days.
Yeah, we'll end at like, I don't know, midnight.
Welcome to the Subaru Sign and Drive event.
Use code MythBrigade to get 10% off your Ford F-150.
This is what our channel's about, is just sitting around and fucking yelling at each other on Zoom. But I've left after Night's Black Agents, for example, with Brent, and like having these, or Dr. Mitchell, having these really tight, like, just like interactions. And I'm like, that was so great. But I hope Brent's not mad at me. I should text him or something. And I'm like, man, Dr. Mitchell was really upset with me as I'm editing. I'm like, I think Tara hates me.
Dude, you guys have gotten in some very heated arguments in character.
I love it.
And I've just been like, I don't know what to fucking do.
Yeah.
Like,
you
do I
sit
just
back and
let
you
this
love it.
go? Like,
Yeah.
what? Like, what the fuck?
So I have a question for you, Jason. What's your favorite campaign you've ever run?
Yeah.
Oh shit! What I've ever run.
The same going to go for you, Dad, and Brent. I don't know if anyone else GMs, but
I'm gonna give you. Oh man! So this is that's unfair, but so I'm just gonna. I'll make one of these statements. Because it's so different, because there are different players and actors, like, I thrive on it. I love, like, the superhero is just so madcap and crazy. The Western thing is madcap and crazy, but there's so depth of character developing there. Tides of Nurgle was just so I can't pick a favorite that I've ever run. But I will say, I'm going to pick one that was a solo campaign. I had stepped away from games forever. And I remember reaching out to Eric and being like, dude, I hate not playing games. And he's like, me too. And it was just he and I. So we ran this solo campaign with this character, Palioran, who was his wizard, who he was just...
I almost had to pick him as my favorite.
Yeah, it was just the background was, it was a world of my inventing, but it was like a theocracy where magic was not okay. So he was always on the run. And like, you show your magic and like the entire government's going to kill you now in principle. So you had to keep it on the down low. And it was just so much fun. And he cast grease trying to protect himself, for example, from some guards. And of course they fell off this thing into the quarry and died. And then he was on the run. Yeah, but so that was really great.
So accidental.
Yeah, and then we liked his character so much that we brought him into the Forgotten Realms. And it was what I loved about it is I was like, okay, but here's the thing. You have to be like, you're convinced that you're from that other reality. So he would tell people like, I'm not from it's so funny. I'm not from here. I'm from another world, and that's why I have magic or whatever. And the other characters are just like,
but my magic was all messed up because of it, so I had to start over at like first level.
yes, and everybody's like, okay, you're a douche. Like, no, whatever you just said is not even real. So I don't know. I what I love is getting characters together, and what you said, Byron, is putting them in situations where they can engage and argue, and like. When I'm playing with you in your games, Byron, I don't think of what you're saying. I think of like, fuck, how is Johnny going to react to what I just did? Like,
right.
You know, like, oh, like if you can get that immersed, if I can see that on the screen, I fucking love it. So I'll turn it over to you. What's your favorite
especially
one?
since Evan does so much shit that everybody's going to be pissed at him.
He's a pile of shit. I can't wait to.
It was like when you turned into the vampire. Or as close as you could be, or whatever, and you like actually like changed, and dude, the look on Dan's and Tara's face, like amazing.
All right, Dad, you too. What's your favorite campaign you've ever done?
We're gonna talk about this later.
So first I have to step back for one hot second because I know I passed on the what's my favorite character, and then I got skipped.
Oh, okay.
Because it never came back.
I
But that's okay because I got picked early, so I'm okay with it. But anyway.
Why don't you do both? Do your favorite.
I am. That's what I was gonna do. I was just gonna take charge and do that. But
I decided to take charge and start asking questions.
Yeah.
So before you jump in,
before
you jump in, I have to share from Thorg. I just have to jump in. So Thorg says, Dobbs, my hero. If you can't spit on it, punch it. That was one. I love it. And then he says, actually, Dobbs' horse is my hero, but Dobbs is a strong second place.
Murph is amazing.
Murph's the main character.
Murph is a character.
Yeah.
Dobbs is just an NPC. Murph is the main character.
For anyone who doesn't know, okay, when I made my character, I wanted certain things, and I only had so much money. And one of the things I found out in the book is you can buy a cheap version of whatever you want. And so I bought a cheap horse. And so my horse is a little special. And he drags his leg, and stuff like that. And he unties himself. He's unruly. I basically totally gave Jason this complete license to fuck me with my horse. He disappears. Like anytime we need him to be there, he's not. And like,
what I love is like if you're tracking. I've thought. I guess I have no life, but I've thought about this offline. Is just picture tracking Dobbs as you've got the horse tracks, but you've got like these horse tracks and then a weird line because it drags its like, dead leg behind it.
It's like, did you know the average horse cock weighs 22 pounds?
Yep.
Murph has like scoliosis and he can't run straight.
It's 22 pounds.
Like, it's the ridiculous shit ever. All because I wanted a cheap horse, but I managed to get a horse and have everything else I needed. But
oh yeah,
it was fun. So I wanted to know, did Thor watch last night's episode?
I don't know. Thor, we didn't see you last night. I haven't edited it, but did you see the situation? That was fucking hilarious. Last night with the table. Did you see the dinner with Mayor Maggot last night on the off chance? He did not. All right, so it'll be up. It'll be up tomorrow.
So he needs to watch that on Twitch.
Yeah, it'll be up tomorrow.
You can watch it on Twitch. So more fun stuff from Dobbs for sure.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, Dobbs is one of my favorite characters for sure. To try to add in that personal loss and things that he has affected his life over the years, and the fact that he has his mom's poetry book and the poems he tries to write. It's just, I love doing it. It's like I'm writing this stuff and I like saying this poem to my wife. My wife's like, "That is the stupidest shit I've ever heard." I was like, "I'm on the right path."
Yeah. You know what was crazy last night?
On the right path.
Like as a GM, like I realize I'm wordy and I was stunned. Like it was literally like at the very end of the episode, when it needed to come to a close, it could have gone on for another hour. But honestly, I was just like, holy shit! Like the way you tied that up with tied the characters together, it was really amazing. I gotta say. And
Thank you.
I say that because I was looking at it today. Like, is it as amazing as it was? Because I was kind of drunk last night. Yes, it was. It was amazing. So Thorg,
I felt amazing to be a part of it on this end.
It'll be up tomorrow.
So, and then my other second character would. So funny enough, my character's name was Tesla.
No.
Yeah,
There's only
funny
one.
enough.
Tesla or Tesla?
Tesla.
They're not the same.
Okay.
I know they're not.
There's only
so
one.
she was an alchemist, and she was an electrical alchemist, of course, because that's what she would do. But her race was what was special, and she was what's called a quarterling. And so she was kind of like she wasn't a halfling, and she wasn't a quickling. She was a quarterling.
I have
So
a
her-
follow-up to this after this.
Her
Just
dad,
let's just go with basic fractions here. She was smaller
Yeah.
than a halfling.
she was a little smaller. She was a little smaller. So her father was a quickling and her mother was a halfling. Okay. And he was a very hit it and forget it kind of guy. Because he was so it was like it was just a quick interlude of sex is all they had, and that's how she came about. So so she was very, very ADHD because she's like on this high energy level of shit and stuff. And the funniest part though was that Tyler had a character who also
her brother.
It was my stepbrother because
He was
our father was the same quickling. Okay.
my
But
mother was a centaur.
was a
this like a
centaur.
I was a half-atar.
So he
I
was
was
a
a
half.
halfling centaur.
He was
I
a
was a
halfling
halfling
centaur.
centaur.
You were like a
Bard.
mini horse.
I was like a goat,
Yes.
like half goat, half halfling. But my guy was like super ripped. His name was Brasco de Bronze, and he would oil himself up all the time. And he had this big like bass drum he would carry, or like a snare drum he would carry around at his like first legs.
But
And he
the
was a bard.
the best part was we worked at a carnival,
We worked at a carnival.
and he was a
and
tightrope walker.
Brasco was a tightrope walker.
No,
He would walk across 2 ropes.
And Tesla would do the fireworks at the end of the thing.
Appropriate.
Brasco de Bronze.
It was very, very interesting.
I think my honest favorite moment, and it's because it's too recent maybe, but was the fucking chaos in the superhero thing where Mordred, James's character, is like, so the scene for those of you who weren't there is think of a 4-way stop, and there's like this wreck that's happened there, and they've come up on it. The characters have come up on it, and the passenger who they're looking for, the daughter that they're trying to save, they arrive, and they don't understand why, but her skull is basically open and empty, right? So they come up on it, and they're like, oh, like there's no blood, but they didn't catch that because of notice rolls or whatever. So it's bottom line is her brain's out, and they don't. So there's chaos there.
Stone Cold said so.
Yeah, so Mordred's trying to figure out a way to get the body out of there, and they're just like Red Rocket. I think at this point, Tyler, I think you went home to let your human body out to pee.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I ran to go get the stew.
Yeah.
I ran
Yeah.
to go get the stew and then go back to Mordred's house.
So like Eric's character is a ghost, basically, and he's tied to Mordred, so they're kind of near each other generally. And Mordred's like, I need help. And I'm literally like, I don't even, like, you know, as a GM, when you just lean back and you're like, okay, well, this is happening. And so Eric's like, okay.
When Byron
Now,
cracks his knuckles.
the girl's mom, okay, that was not in the car. She was the driver, and they're like, where did she go? Well, she had been slung like a block away into a tree so fast that she folded around the tree, and she was basically just like this pile of like dead flesh.
Lump of
Yeah, covered with a, And I was trying to get them to just leave that alone. But so because Eric's a fucking disaster of a human being, he's just like, so here's what I do. I'm a ghost, right? So I go over there and I pick up I pick up the fucking blanket, and part of it is just the visual of like this gnarly, like soft, like every bone broken corpse that had been pulled, like pried out of this tree. And he's just like, and I just like put it, because I put it over my head, and then what did you do? Just like chasing people around or something? We're all just like, why?
Running
Gross.
down the street.
I just took off screaming down the street.
Yeah. And as like I'm visualizing this, especially the way I was picturing the corpse and how gross that was. I'm just like, you sick fucker. Like, how about let that be a side thing, okay? And just maybe stick to the 4-way stop. And you're like, no, let's defile the corpse and let's be weird, run around like a fucking weirdo. And the what's great is if you go back and watch the stream, the satisfaction on James's face, he's just like, yeah. That's gross.
And then I pissed in his house, and he was not happy anymore.
It was fucking wonderful.
That was so much fun. I love it.
He asked for a distraction.
Well, I mean, that's
Got
just
one.
yeah. So Thorg says,
Yeah.
I was laughing
I only
at
had
that.
so much to work with as a ghost.
Yes, that was our last Heroes episode, actually. Thorg thinks that was funny, which means you're a sick bastard too. Eric, you and Thorg, you and Thorg should start a sick bastards club or something.
Yeah.
All right. So I think I got to call this done because I've had so much to drink in the last 12 hours. But mainly, I just wanted to tell you guys. So what little revenue the channel has made is coming back to each of you guys in the form of a gift card but there's a catch. It's coming back to you guys in the form of a gift card for Drive-Thru RPG. And you just have to put our affiliate ID in there, so we get credit for your purchase. But I just wanted to thank you because this has made me super happy to just be part of something, and Byron like playing your games, like and walking away from the sessions and like with making new friends and whatever. That's what it's all about. So Merry Christmas. I'm not gonna wish you Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
New Year's are stupid. But I know seriously.
Well, definitely Merry Christmas.
Thank you guys.
And I'm still so honored to be a part of this community and helping to get it to grow. And I wish that I was more on the technical side so I could do more of it and not make you do all the legwork. But
dude, if you want to run games and let me just hit the button, I will. Look, watch.
I wish my schedule would allow me to run more games.
Wait, watch what I
mean, you guys are okay.
Watch this.
Word. Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, watch it. If it's a game that I can't play, watch what I can do. Yay!
Alter ego.
Yeah,
but you can. That's the thing, is I do want you to play it, whatever I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So
awesome.
yeah. So we might have to find a 5th player for Pendragon.
I
don't
think
know.
we already found one. But
yeah, Lenore seems like a good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's right.
Cool.
Absolutely.
But she would want to play.
She's
at night,
really
so.
cool.
Is there any reason we couldn't have like 7 or 9 maybe players? Because
I mean, just that it just really, for the amount of time that we play, it really cuts into the amount of time that
You
each
just get like
person
10 minutes
gets.
to play, so
So
Once a
like it makes it choppy and hard to like really. 5 players with Night's Black Agents is even rough.
Yeah.
In some cases, but I mean, I'm used to running in-person games with like 8. Like it doesn't bother me at all,
Right.
In person's much easier.
But
I
when you're only
don't-
playing for 2 hours or 3 hours, and it can derail pretty fast. And
yeah.
Next thing you know, this 3 or 4 episode game is like 22.
So what I'll say is, if you're going to do that, I'm going to ask right here on public stream, where I can hold them accountable, Dan and Tara and Brent, will you do a cult thing with me?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'd love to do that.
All right.
All right. Then I get to make a Christmas wish also.
What's that?
Yeah,
We're making Christmas wishes.
Christmas
I
wish.
want you, I've never gamed with you as a DM, and I want you to run a one shot.
Me a one shot as a DM.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna join a cult, that's not a 1-shot. That's gonna be like a 4-shot until we all.
I know.
All
right.
Wait. A Wingate 4-shot or like a real 4-shot? 'Cause-
Yeah. All right. What?
Hey, I got 1-shots. I'm the 1-shot.
Yeah, we can put out a couple.
And
one-shots.
so your
Some
legend
one-shots.
tells.
There's
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
1-shots that could be ran from this house. There's a
What?
handful.
might have, like, 32
Any
of them
more
downstairs.
that I can go on? What specific system and/or concept?
I do not care.
Okay.
It'd be your choice, really. I mean,
Yeah, right, you're the
running
GM.
it. Yeah, if you're
What I'll do
running
is
it,
I'll do
then-
like, here's the cult campaign, and if it sucks, it's a 1-shot, and if not, then what's
I
great,
want to
though-
play in that though. I want to play in that.
We can do that. We could honestly.
I definitely want to play another cult game with Tara.
Yes.
That was fucking amazing.
And Brent, seriously, we could get
And
copay.
Brent.
We could get copays.
Yeah.
Like you can get copays from what we will do to these people.
we legitimately
Seriously.
wanted him to actually like do counseling
Yeah, I
for
know.
each one of our characters.
I was actually very excited for it, and then I ended up getting held over on work. Some actual like crisis bullshit. I think it was. It was really
You made
interesting.
some sort of excuse like that.
Byron,
Yes, it was something.
What if? And I'm going to throw something silly out there, but what if we took sort of this group, whoever's willing to do it, and it's got to be immersive, like soul-bearing thing, and we make the story so that we're running parallel tracks. You run some, I run some, but it's interwoven. You and I will talk and figure out how it plays together, so that we stream it. They're not aware of what's going on either way, but you and I have to have an idea of how it hits in the end.
Oh, that's ambitious.
Yeah, we're not going to get it right, but it's fine. We'll just drink a lot. What we'll do in the end was to blame it on Dan. We'll just be like, fucking Dan!
I apologize in advance. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Were you saying you and I co-GM it?
No,
And then-
different sessions.
Is that what you were saying?
So you run a session, let's say I run a session on a Monday, you run one on Wednesday. It's generally going whatever way it goes. But the idea is to bring the entire cast in the end together for like some crescendo.
So it starts
I've
off as
actually-
like split games.
Yes.
I've actually done some shit like that before.
See?
So Matt
I know
McLeod,
you've done it in real person.
yeah, Matt McLeod and I ran a double Cthulhu game, 2 separate episodes. He was running Conan, and I was running Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That's weird.
And,
Two places that you wouldn't think.
That's not what I meant.
so you would
That's so
think
super
that they
weird.
wouldn't go together. So what you don't know is Cthulhu actually exists in the Marvel universe.
He does. He
And
exists
so
everywhere.
so does Conan. Conan is actually part of the Marvel universe also. And so the Dagon, who is called Sliggeth in the Marvel universe, actually came through a portal and captured Doctor Strange. And kidnapped him and took him back to Samaria. And so Thulsa Doom and another wizard were going to sacrifice Doctor Strange to like open this magical portal or something like that. And the Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So Nick Fury sent Coulson and the team to track down a medical doctor named Stephen Strange, who did not come to a meeting that they were supposed to have. And so they end up going through this portal in the Sanctum Sanctorum in New York and ending up together, and we're GMing this back to back.
Yeah.
So we can kind of like bullshit with each other as we're going, as there's a break in the game. I'm like, Matt, where you guys at? You guys ready? We need like 20 minutes, dude. We're gonna fucking put this shit together. And so we're DMing it back to back, and all of a sudden we get to the part, they go through the thing, and as like, Matt's describing these people coming out of the portal as the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and I'm describing the people they're seeing as they come out of the portal as like Conan and whatever. And then all of a sudden we're like, all right, everybody get up. And we're running this at Origins. We're like, everybody get up. And they're like, what are you fucking talking about? We're like, seriously, everybody get up. Pull your chairs back, whatever. It's like, pick up the table. And it's like everybody else is standing up at the other table and picking up the table. We're like, push your tables together. This is one fucking game now. 16 player,
Yes.
2 GMs.
That's exactly what I would like to do. What I would like to do, exactly that. Not 16 players. That's a lot of fucking people. But like, let you and I get together.
Got to set the bar high.
Figure out something that's twisted enough. But what part of me wants to do is like, you do you, I do me, because I don't pre-script shit at all. So we go, and then I fucking don't.
What? You met Byron?
Right?
Have you ever seen any of the 32 games I've ran?
No, but let's you go your way.
Jason, every week we do NBA. He comes in. I didn't prep.
Me too. I love that. What I do is I'm like,
One time I prepped, and I was like, "Oh, this is great. You guys are gonna go talk."
That's
to
a
this
mistake.
Nazi guy.
Yeah.
We didn't fucking do anything.
And then you guys decapitate the guy 5 minutes into the fucking session.
I mean,
and I'm
look,
like,
Tesla.
You
Look,
open prep, okay? I quick hesitate.
there's like all
Tesla
this
doesn't like
information you
vampires.
have to get from this guy, and I'm like, what the
Not
fuck do I
anymore.
do? What do I do? And I was like, I get it. He just keeps talking.
Yeah.
He has no head. Who fucking cares, right?
We squeeze his head. I mean, the thing is, what you miss is that Tesla doesn't like vampires, and he's going to blow the vampire and other things up, where the other things is a matter of math involving the size of the explosive that he decides to have.
That was a vampire Nazi.
That's true.
James,
I'm all
James
for
and
that.
Eric, if you guys
Yeah,
ever
he
go
had
back and
multiple strikes against him going just at
if
the
you
end.
ever go back and watch any of the stream, they're asking him questions, and he's telling them kind of cryptic answers, but he is telling them the truth.
Which
And they're
is
like,
why
"What?"
he got fucking beheaded. Okay?
It's like, what's in the vault? He's like, something that should never see the light of day.
Into the microwave. Into the microwave. Right now.
They put his decapitated head in the microwave. Like, who does that to an NPC?
It's like we like behead him or whatever, and then Tesla and I are like, all right, now that he's dead, let's go in the vault and let me put my finger in whatever that he was saying we
Yeah.
should.
I got news for you. You're not
Push
done with
the button that says don't.
You're not done with that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Unlike Ryzen.
I mean, I guess he's on our side, and so it's a different story.
I'll re-behead him.
Are we playing next week? No.
Yeah,
we're playing week after.
January
We
4th.
should, because next
January
week would be
4th.
sweet.
Okay.
'cause-
Okay.
January 4th. I would love to play next week, but I closed.
Superhero game the 9th?
The 9th is the superhero game. The 18th, I believe, might be the 17th. It is actually, I think, the 17th is the next Deadlands game.
Yep. Yeah, something
If he
like that.
does come back, Byron, all I gotta say is there are 5,000 watt microwaves, and we have so
Yeah,
He's gonna put his head
we got
in
some
it.
new weapons. We got the staker. We got our little electro gun.
I picture
Byron, you can
Tesla.
totally like do the spitting, like. No, I'm telling you all. I'm trying to give you the secrets. No, really. As the microwave zaps inside. No, please.
I picture Tesla coming out and being like, Johnny, try this. I just bought it on Amazon. It's an Instapot.
Got one for Christmas. Got one for Christmas.
It's the Christmas episode.
It is.
This is the one that also air fries.
Yeah.
I have that. I have that one.
It's just like throw them in the air fryer. Fuck it.
Yeah, I'll read the book and I'll know all about the Instapot.
So I think that's our challenge. We'll figure out a time when we're
That'll
gonna
be
do
the
it.
day when you read the book.
That's
Yeah.
true. Facts. Hashtag.
As long as we're typically starting at 9, I can pretty much do any night except for Monday nights.
Except for fucking today, because what time did you log in? Like
Dude,
9?
he arrived.
I know.
Yeah, except for fucking Fridays.
Well, I can play every day at 9.
Around 9, between 9 and 9:30ish.
Except for every day I play.
Hey, Brett and I had to wear matching fleeces. That's why he was late. Okay.
Oh, I see.
That's true.
That's
By the way,
Brent's bathrobe. What are you talking
I
about?
know.
bathrobe.
where's my
I felt impolite to point that out.
If it was red, it would be a smoking jacket, but it's green, so it's a fucking bathrobe.
It is a bathrobe.
So a couple,
we're in leisure tonight. That's what we're doing.
Tim's like
Continental.
Tim is messaging me. He's scared shitless to get on the stream, and he's like, dude, I don't know. You guys have this whole thing like set up, and it's all professional, and I don't know what. It's like, have you watched any of the fucking?
Yeah, I know.
streams,
It's like
Tim?
we're all
Like,
Yeah.
you
wearing
know
random
us?
not tonight. This
Like,
is
he's like,
Festivus.
no. I was like,
Yeah, we're all gonna come on here wearing suits and shit.
Right, I didn't know this was a
Oh.
black tie event.
Yeah.
Crushed
Sorry.
velvet onesies. We should all wear crushed velvet onesies one night. That's the.
That's a great idea.
I'm so
That would
fat.
be
Even
really
if I
fun.
wore a onesie, it'd be a twosie.
No matter with you, it'll always be a onesie. It will. We'll always have friends.
So early next year, or throughout the year, I think we find a way. Byron and I are going to run a head-to-head cult thing that is interrelated somehow, and you only get the relationship between it if you watch the streams, like the whole of it. Right? So it runs independently so that we figure it out. But you and I have to stay at least reasonably connected. And while we're doing it,
Well, that's easy. I play in yours, you play in mine.
we're going to wear a diaper.
This is perfect.
And
Who
nothing
says-
else.
Who says I'm not
Nothing
already
else.
wearing one?
Oh,
I'm
no,
50
I am.
years old. I already got
I'm
one.
so tired of these. Like the only thing I have to edit in
You
our
got some
Night's
for
Black
Christmas.
or the potty
Right.
breaks. The potty breaks in Night's Black. I'm like, shit, I got to find that because it's kind of like Tyler and I are the only ones that are sitting here wearing our diapers and talking, and you guys are off like,
No,
I think you guys
Dude,
are like.
I take a water pill. I got to go to the bathroom a lot.
Dude, I think you guys are like sitting back in a hot tub and having some champagne for a minute while Tyler and I are like, okay, so why has Dan not moved in 10 minutes?
That's a goal I'd support. Doing a
We
one
did that at Cabin
Con.
Con. Cabin Con.
Yeah.
You know what we
with
should
the
do is get
bees.
together at Chaosium Con and record us playing somebody else's one shot.
No, so I was gonna say we should figure out something for content there. And Thor, you should come to. Speaking of edits, Tides of Nurgle final episodes.
I'll run my one shot.
Oops.
I'll run one.
Sorry. I know. Last one.
Tides of
There's
Nurgle final
There's
episodes.
2
not
more
out?
left. I haven't done 2 more. Yeah.
What? That's like over a year extended.
That's literally like your hottest campaign on the channel, and you had
It ended before I was running Night's Black.
Dude, it's Christmas.
What the
Nothing's
fuck?
late. It's Christmas.
Get back here so you can get scolded, young man.
I remember. I'm gonna look it
God
up.
damn
You're
it.
Like, I have
know.
all the edits caught up. Everything is done.
Your edits. I said your edits.
Whatever. You might have.
Here, I know.
I think he said all. I'm pretty sure you said
Pretty
all.
sure he said all though.
Oh man.
All right.
Speaking
Eat
of young
these
man,
words.
Well, most of them.
Getting hot in here, man. What's going on?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
it's
What
my
did you say?
birthday. That's what. In an hour.
I actually had to make shit
Oh,
up.
is
I actually had to make shit up in my Tides of Nurgle game because
It wasn't
luckily
done.
I caught the last episode. Like I was on the stream, so luckily I knew what happened. Because otherwise I was like, you guys would stop playing and I was running it too, and then they would catch up to like what you were doing, and I was like, we'll postpone a week.
What I loved about that campaign. So we hadn't played in forever. We'd never streamed before, and there's just a lot of learning and a lot of accidents and that's a thick rule system if you're just coming into it. But what I loved was I figured out up to the point of the guy on the hill burning, going, and then like they propelled everything from there, like with their general intent and the vibe. So like I only had to plan an episode out. But what was really tough, roll. You remember what a bastard Roll20 was. I didn't have proper internet out here, so
Yes.
I would hit like an attack button and be like, okay.
Buffering.
I absolutely love that system for the randomization of characters.
Yes.
Like, and just throwing a random fucking party together is incredible.
Yeah, I actually don't hate the system. I think it's just there's a muscle memory thing for like an old hat, second edition D&D dude, or like Traveler or whatever. Like all these
That's
systems.
not me.
Yeah, and then in the moment, like if you're sitting around a table and you're playing a game, like your friends, you'll be like, hang on, man, shit, I don't remember this. If you say that on stream, like, dude, YouTube is cruel. They'll be like, you have no right touching these books. You are a flaming cunt. And you're just like, oh, well, I just like games, bro, and die in a fire. It's like that. And I'm like, well, thank you for your feedback. Byron's game is starting next week, so maybe you should follow that because it's generally better than mine.
This game sucks.
Yeah.
Just like, please, like none of us know the rules. Good luck. But yeah, that system was cool, and actually the way it ended, except for the weird, there was some yeah, I know. Thank you, Thor. But there was some weird stuff with the end of that. I think where the rules were just really obnoxious, and like one character, it was like I don't know, like I'm being silly, but he's like, I go to pick a flower, and you're like, roll for that, and it's like, oh, I super fumbled, and it's like, oh, by the rules, your spine falls out your ass. Sorry, your spine falls out your ass.
That happens.
Sorry,
that happens sometimes.
Yeah,
I hate it when that happens.
So I actually started my with Brent and Tyler and the rest of our Youngstown crew. I started running my own Warhammer fantasy game, and as a segue into what I was doing, I actually made them run into Wilhelmina Wagner.
She's the
yeah.
she's
They actually
crazy.
so they were like, oh yeah, the captain of the guard. I was running Rough Nights, Hard Days, and out of the box set, and so they had to go meet this noble, and I'm like, oh, well, Wilhelmina Wagner. Obviously, they're in the same city, so they would go sit there, and they're like, yeah, she's lost something, and you have to go find it or whatever. And so they go and they it's so funny, I can't even say it. And then they go and they talk to her, and she's like, yes, she says, I have lost my what is so akin to me, is very dear to me. You must find it. And she's talking, and she's like crying over like this missing, and they think it's a child. Like they literally think it's her child.
And she gives him like a bag of turkeys or something.
FYI, it's not.
It's not a fucking child.
It's her fucking show poodle, Fluffy. It's so they have to. So it's gone missing, and the only evidence is that it was somewhere near this hedge, and they can't figure out fucking why. Like it went missing. So they go, and she's like, "Oh, it's the most beautiful animal ever," and she's talking so positively about it. She's willing to pay them lots and lots of money to find it, and so they go and they start investigating, and they go and they talk to the fucking servants, and they're like, I fucking hate that dog. Fuck that piece of shit. I hope it fucking dies. Like I don't know who fucking killed it, but I wish it was fucking me.
If only my mom would have let me eat it when I tried to the first few times, it would be all right.
It was like one time I was trying to trim the hedge, and I found a rat, and it bit my fucking hand. I hope it dies.
Wait. Trim the hedge or trim the hedge?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But yeah, it was fucking hilarious. So that was how I opened up into, and it actually got killed by a Skaven.
A delightful poodle fricassee.
That game turned upside down.
Yeah, that one was good though.
My character ended up becoming a fucking Zinj cultist, and yeah.
So that's part of the. So I've been trying to figure out season 2. Part of it is like River's availability. I think that the rest of the cast is probably good, but so like John's character now, what did he wind up with, like a rat face?
Severe mutation.
He had like a gnarly
face.
In the end, he wound up with a gnarly mutation. But I need to resolve what messes with me when I think about this is like I made that silly video where it explained the guy showing up at the door and the man pig and all this other stuff, and I had an idea of why that was, but we didn't go there. Like that had nothing to do with what was implemented, so I kind of have to close that out, I think.
Yeah.
So
and the fact that Jim's still probably mad at you for killing his character.
Oh, he's and rightfully I didn't, but that's the thing. It's like, okay, oh, sorry, and he's just like, what? I'm like, well, I mean, that's what it says on the books. But yeah, that was tough.
Those books say you dead, homie.
Yeah, that last episode though is just like, all right, if I edit around all the super awkward shit, we wind up with about 15 minutes of entertaining stuff. I don't know.
The awkward shit is the meat of the beast. I mean, that's the
true.
I got to tell on Eric. So Eric, when I was 12, I think, when I played my first role-playing game, and Eric was running it, and it was Middle-earth role-playing, and I think that was maybe because our buddy James was doing a D&D thing with who knows. I don't think he had any friends, but Eric's. I was like best friends with Eric and his brother at that age, and
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was introduced. I was introduced to this where it was you made 3 to 5 characters, and I'm like, I don't understand. I didn't know anything about this stuff, right? I was just like, okay, well, I make 3 to 5. Just
We
put
made
it
up
in.
for the lack of cast with.
Yeah.
Is this ICE like Iron Crown Enterprises Middle Earth?
Yes. I see.
Yeah. Oh, yes, of course. You have
The
to make
red
it
box.
5 or 6 characters.
But what was funny is he would. Part of it was. Like he and Dan, his brother, like I was just over there hanging out, drinking beer with him earlier. But like they would get into a spat, and Eric would be like, he would just like, why are these whites coming out of people's butts? Like they're white, it's just like they're killing us now. And I'm like, oh, now I know that character's dead and that character's dead. And I had like 13. I still have those, Eric, in the box, in the original red box that I bought.
I still have them. Yeah, I still have all my old characters stuffed in a box.
No, that's not true. You have a ream of paper, maybe, because there's like 1,000 of them. Because you would just murder. You'd just be like, you die, and I'm like, why? I'm not even your brother. And you'd be like, like you'd be just so pissed at him that you'd just be like, fine, roll resistance -700, and I'm like, that's not even in the book. And you're just, because we were kids, you're just like, I'm the game master. Okay. Roll.
We were pretty awful.
No, it was great though. It was that was when I got hooked though, because I'm like, oh, if just Dan wasn't making Eric mad, this would be fun. Like maybe if we just give Dan some NyQuil and we could play the game, and that led to Top Secret and Star Wars and all those other games over the years. It was amazing.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, Dan is. You got to tell them about Dan's paladin.
Oh, so his brother is
like an anti-paladin.
Yeah, his brother is really intense, and he's intense. And he tends to say a lot of really horrible words. This is his real self. So he makes a paladin, and we were very deep in it. Like we would spend 14 hours literally role playing. We didn't drink back then a lot of coffee to keep us awake, or Jolt Cola or whatever. So his character was a paladin, and he'd be like, and I was very serious about like what paladins meant in 2nd edition. To me, it was like the paladin is holy. So like, and he'd be like, there'd be a monologue off, right? And the main villain would be like, I'm here to vanquish you, paladin. And he would say something like really paladinly, like, fuck you, cunt. And I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, not, I mean, like, I don't know that's the thing. Like, could you? And I'm not offended by that, but I'm like, if we're role playing here, like maybe just let's backpedal something like piss off butt face, maybe. But he's just like
thou cunteth because I.
Yeah. And then there was this, there was a thing in the 2nd edition Forgotten Realms book, I think, that talked about Bane, and it to what did it say? Something like to utter his name is to bring about a curse. And this villain was flirting with him and like, oh, paladin, such harsh words. What more can you say? And he goes, Bane. And I'm like, ooh, that has a flavor to it, doesn't it? Say it again. And he's like, Bane, fucking Bane, fucking, because this is Dan. It was so funny. So I was like, okay.
Just to clarify, a different Dan than this. Yes.
Yeah, not Kaplan, not like
that. Dan would do it too. But Dan.
Oh, absolutely, if given the opportunity.
Yeah, but I was just like, okay. I left that session. It was like 3 a.m. It was fine, but I'm just like, okay, I have to punish him somehow. How does this work? So I made I don't remember what I did to him. I made him undead. Yeah.
Yes.
So I was like, okay.
That was one of the curses.
It was the curse of the Necrus. And for every time that he had said Bane on the other side of the oh, that has a flavor to it, doesn't it? He earned one curse, and he had to atone to get rid. And so he was like rotting. And now paladins thrive on charisma. But I was like, I'm not gonna penalize you, but I'm gonna ask you to role play like when you come into the town and you try to inspire people and like half your face is rotten off. I'm like, how does that work out for you? And he's like, hey, so sorry about your disease, I'm gonna heal you. And I'm like, but your powers don't work because you're fucking cursed. he played that off pretty well. He played that character for like, I don't know, until he was a skeleton or something. and then
Yeah.
it just got
Yeah.
yeah, and then it got silly. But oh yeah, what's
when I got silly.
what's the worst thing, Byron?
That's where it got.
That's when I got silly.
Byron, what's the worst thing that you've done to a player character? Have you done anything gnarly?
Who, me?
Story. Yeah.
Oh,
Other than
Byron.
Evan. Other than Evan.
What is the worst thing I've ever done to a player character?
Yeah.
I got some good ones too.
Man, what is the worst thing I've ever done to a player character?
Don.
Don?
Don.
Yeah, fucking Don.
Don.
So we're playing Kingmaker, and I'm running it, and so at the last minute, one of so they run into the kobolds. I don't know if anybody's ever played Kingmaker or not. Obviously, some people. So they run into these kobolds, and the kobolds have been taken prisoner. One of their kobolds have been taken prisoner by the mites, and so the mites and the kobolds are having this big war between the two of them, and they decide to they go to they see the kobolds first, so they're kind of on the kobold side trying to save this kidnapped kobold, and they go to the mites lair, and they're like, you must surrender. And like I look at the mites in the book, and they speak Aklo, and they're not talking to the mites in Aklo, so the mites have no idea what the fuck they're saying. And they're like, so the mites are just like going on their shit. They do what mites do. They try to steal their shit, right? They circle around the back. They try to steal their shit out of their bags. So they're like, you're attacking us. It's like, we're going to tell you one more time, give up in the name of the king and shit. And of course, the mites have no fucking idea what they're saying. So they're like, you're not fucking listening to us, so we're going to murder you. So they murder all the fucking mites, right? Make good friends of the kobolds. And eventually, my one person, Brian, who wants to play in the game, can't, because he is only available on the Sundays that I'm not running the Kingmaker game. So, but the kobolds kind of have their own kingdom. And I said, all right, Brian, well, I'll tell you what, on the opposite Sundays, I'll run the kobold game. And so it'll be the second half of the campaign from the kobold perspective. And so we run this opposite game, and we have to get the whole Kingmaker experience for all the things. So we make up all these NPCs and all this stuff, and he makes rolls to attract, kobolds from all over Galarion to come to the kobold realm that he's building here. And so he gets I'm making dumb shit up, and I'm like, well, you get this one blue kobold. And what was he was trying to get him as what was he was the what the fuck was his position?
I figured he was a lawyer. I know that
he was a lawyer, yeah. So the kobold was a paralegal that worked in Taldor. He was like a slave that had he had gained his freedom, and he was and his name was Mr. Tix. And that's what he went by, and he was like the liaison between the kobolds, and he was the liaison or whatever. He was the diplomat, and he was a diplomat between the kobolds and the main character party. And so at one point, the kobold game is kind of going weird, and my buddy Brian is playing Biter Winterbane, one of the kobolds. And he says, well, I'm going to build fucking tunnels underneath all the fucking cities. So I'm going to have an underground fucking railroad system. And I was like, well, how in the fuck are you going to do that? And he's like, I'm going to find all these gelatinous cubes and boulets, and I'm going to dig them. I'm going to dig them with the boulets, and then I'm going to bring the gelatinous cubes. Will just move down, and they'll have these little side passages that they can move off on, and so they'll be like the street cleaners that keep all these fucking things. And so when all the above ground freezes over, we can move goods and services throughout the kingdom. And he says, and so I'm like, okay, well, what are you gonna do with the kobolds? And he's like, well, every fucking bullshit job the humans don't want to do. He's like, if it's cleaning out the horse maneuver, putting roofs on, washing dishes at the fucking bar, taking trash out, every fucking possible thing that the humans don't want to do, the kobolds will do for a very small fee. It will be a very, very minimal fee. And so I'm like, okay, it's like so ridiculous that there's no way the humans wouldn't pay for it. Like 1 copper piece a week to do all their work. So he basically unionizes the kobolds so that anytime like the fucking topsiders is what he called them, or anytime that other people don't know what to do, they would just go on strike. So the like my buddy Tom, who's playing a king, would just be pissed off at the kobolds, and he'd be like, look, he's like, you assholes need to stop fucking doing this shit or whatever. And he's like, all right, yeah, no problem, dude. It's like, we'll just wrap up our job and we'll sit down and we'll leave you guys alone. So all of a sudden they would stop taking out the shit. They just like fucking leave their jobs, you know. And so he'd be in court and he'd have to deal with all the citizens coming and bitching at him and stuff like that. And all these farmers and shit would come in, and the bartenders and shit were like, yeah, you need to fix this fucking situation with the kobolds because like they're not fucking working. And he's like, and the king's like, well, you don't understand, it's for the good of the king. He's like, I don't fucking care.
Like this kobold standing around just doing kobold things
around the corners and shit, dude.
They're just
like,
being
intimidating. Work.
They're being
irate people's court.
Irate people's court, right? Exactly. It was so ridiculous. And so they don't know anything about the fact that the kobolds are building these tunnels and everything. And so my buddy Don is playing the like the sheriff, I guess, or the warden, the guy in charge of the general, I think, in charge of all the armies and all this shit. And so he goes to my buddy Tom, who is the king at the time, and he's like, look, he's like, I'm telling you, these fuckers are gonna invade us. It's like they're building fucking tunnels and shit underneath. Like somehow he investigated or he followed them or some shit because he was very racist against the kobolds. And so he would like track them down and all that shit. So they're like, all right, Tom finally's like, okay, we'll go fucking talk to them. Okay, he's like, they're vassals. He's like, we'll go fucking talk to them. And so they get there, and of course the king is gone. The king of the kobolds is gone at the time. The Mr. Tix comes out, the blue kobold. He's all like dressed in a tuxedo, and he's got a big fucking ring and shit. You know, he's a diplomat, and so
I think the king of the kobolds. I think the
sorry,
king.
But King Sootscale is not available at this moment for your thing. It's like, I am happy to answer any of this. And Don's like, give me your fucking king. I don't give a shit. And then the king. My buddy Tom, the king, is like, no, dude. He's like, calm down, Don. He's like, calm fuck down. You know, it's like, you know, it's like, we gotta treat these people like right. And he's like, no, it's fucking bullshit. They're fucking doing all this shit. And he's like, they're building fucking armies. And he's like, yeah. He's like, not. He's like, he's like, Tom asks the Mr. Tix. He's like, are you guys building troops and shit like that? And he's like, Well, of course we are. It's like, we're training troops and stuff. He's like, we're vassals. It's like, if you were to ever call on us, call the banners, we would need to supply troops. It's like, if we don't build fucking troops, we can't supply troops. So we're not only are we fucking doing it, but we're bound by the laws that you put into effect. You know? And Don's like, oh, it's fucking bullshit. And Don's visibly getting fucking pissed off. Because everything he's trying to say, Mr. Tix is just fucking firing it down.
Yeah.
And so Don's like, okay, what about the fucking tunnels that you're building underneath all the fucking cities so you can invade us? And Mr. Tix just goes, oh. He's like, King Hackinson. He's like, I am so sorry. I must apologize. He's like, that your general has ruined this for you. And he's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, well, we were going to tell you as a birthday present
But we're building these tunnels so that when the lands freeze and stuff above ground, we can transport goods and services very efficiently for you. We've made a network of these things for you. And Don, I literally thought he was gonna flip the game table over in my fucking room.
And to describe this game table,
it's like an 8-foot fucking game table, dude.
10-foot fucking table screwed into a dining room table.
He was so as a person, he was so physically fucking angry at the events of the fucking table. He went out on my fucking porch and it was like in the winter time, and it was like 20 degrees outside in Ohio with snow on the ground, and he's out there like fucking chain smoking and shit because he's so fucking mad that he's like about to flip the fucking game table over.
I got to tie into that. So we had a player, and Dennis, if you're out there on the internet watching this, I love you, man. Happy birthday yesterday, by the way. But so we played the Pathfinder, and it was, I forget the adventure path, but it was the sort of horror one that visited various like old school horror, like the vampire and the Frankenstein. Carrying Crown,
the
right.
Fucking nightmare that was Carrying Crown.
Yeah. And so it was actually was a lot of fun. And like we almost had a total party kill in the prison, but there was like a lot of emotion. Oh my goodness. There was a prison, right? And
yeah, my character died there.
Yeah. It was hard. So but they got through that, and they had decided at one point or another to go sort of to the I'm not remembering the specifics, so stream forgive me, but it was basically they went to where the Lich was, and this is like second, third session in, so maybe premature Lich visit kind of thing, but they went there anyway.
Only a little.
I'm like, whatever.
Wait, are you saying they went to Gallows Fire where the Whispering Tyrant
maybe yes
lived
I think that's right
in the third session? So they're just suicidal.
Well, but the thing was, but in my head, right, to them it's a town. They don't know, and they don't know the path, right? They're just like, okay, go, whatever. And so but I made it clear as they're approaching, because Gallows Spire, if you look at the definition, like it's not exactly a quiet place at night. And so they're there, and there's like this situation, and I'm like, okay, there's this. I even was like, there's this apparition on the top of the tower, and I'm trying to tell them, and James and Eric, keep me honest here, I was very clear. Like, you are surrounded by shit you should not be part of right now.
So, and we were we were laying low and hanging back and not trying to draw any attention to ourselves, but he had other ideas
and doing it so well, and you're just like, okay. And there were sentries everywhere, and what I was trying to do is basically be like, hey, listen, this is GM speak for I only read the book that I'm ready to run, so why don't you go back that way, right? So Dennis is just like, so there's like, and I made it clear, the sentries everywhere. Lich, like, say, 50 yards away. Lich, just hanging out, smoking, I don't know, smoking a cigarette and, smoking jacket or whatever he was doing.
Whatever Liches do.
Yeah, and he's like, because he's thinking rules, and he's just like, I rage. And I love this. I hate people fucking, if you, out there on the internet, if you play a barbarian and you ever say to your GM, I rage, and then I just, fuck you, stop playing role-playing games. He's like, I rage. Why? Like, you just stand up and like, but I'm like, dude, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I rage. And I'm just like, yell, and I stab this guy. And so he was successful. He kills the one guy. But then I'm like, all right, you heard me say that, like, you're surrounded by evil and there's a Lich up there. And he's just like, James and Eric were both just like, oh, shit. And that's where that campaign ended. And then he says, which is one of my favorite parts as a player, he goes, because his girlfriend at the time played with us, and he's like, so I'm strong, so I scoop up my girlfriend's character, I don't remember, and I run, and I'm like, you do what? And I'm like, because like it's like all of the evil ever is like, oh, we have a new goal, kill that guy, and they're coming, and so he's like, I scoop her up under my arm, and I run, and I'm just sitting there just in disbelief, like Byron, like you know what that, where you're just like, you don't want to be that guy, but you're also like, hey, can we just talk about physics for a second? Like, no, you don't. You just scoop her up. Like, how does she behave? Is she just like, okay, let me be very stiff so you can run with me like a javelin, like and throw me.
Small sack of potatoes, you know?
I know, but then I'm just like, okay.
No, Sacagawea.
Yeah, and then it's
Stay,
like,
stay hard.
he goes, and then I'm just like, all right, all hell's breaking loose. I don't know. We just kind of, it was at the end of the session, but he's basically like, that was an inappropriate CR for our characters. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was, yes, if you're going to be a douchebag and attack the bad guys, yes, it was. But I never told you to do that. And even now, because I work with the guy, he's just like, that CR was way off.
I gave you every opportunity to avoid that shit.
Yeah, I'm like, I
guess it's fucking my fault.
Right?
Know?
You remember the locale, and I was just like, I never told you to go there. You were supposed to go after the fucking werewolves or something. Like, whatever was going on. It was so much fun though, but I think he kind of hates me. Like at some point, if I die, it may be because Dennis murders me because I was mean to him about his decisions. And I was like, so
eulogy. He'll say, "Remember back in 1991 when?"
Yeah, I picture that character though. When I think of how that campaign ended, James and Eric, I picture you guys are dead, probably, right? And he is, because he's so super awesome. He's got her under his arm still, and this is like, say, 30,000 years later. He's still running with her under his arm.
That's his curse.
Like a freight train or something. Yeah, it was horrible. What were you going to say, Brett? You were going to say you had one, Brent.
Oh, I got a good one. Okay, so I have a player who likes to optimize his backstory. Basically that old trope of my character's backstory, even though I'm level 1, is that I'm the descendant of a super awesome something or another, and like I have all the support. Maybe not Tom, but so he decided that he wanted to make himself the bastard son of like the big devil worshippers on Galarian. So he wanted to be a Thrune, and so he was also a synthesist summoner. So his Eidolon was like bound to him like armor, and he said that like he sometimes hears whispers from his Eidolon. So I mostly played it for like every once in a while his Eidolon is telling him violent things, but he was about to have a TPK, right? Like he was about to die in a side thing. He went on a side mission that was very ill-advised. I ran something separate for him. He was about to just die. So I gave him his escape route. It turns out his armor was a devil all along, and he'd been wearing basically the spirit of a devil. And the devil said, "Hey, you want to make a deal because I don't want to die either." And so we outlined this entire contract, right? It was very simple. The devil will get his body for 1 hour a day. And during that time, he's not allowed to hurt anyone. He's not allowed to do anything against the kingdom. Kingmaker. Yes, Kingmaker has all the best stories. And he's not basically allowed to do any evil acts. So what he does during that hour, so months pass, and he takes over his body in the evenings, and then so I decided that I was that this devil was going to try to find during this time period, because he was such a famous person in the kingdom, to find someone to basically selectively breed like an Antichrist type character. So like time passes and he finds out that he's a dad. Because an hour a day, he didn't hurt nobody. And he's just like, he's like, wait, he's like, what do you mean? This woman says like that she's pregnant, and it's like, and so he starts like yelling at the devil, and then begins the long quest to get the devil exorcised from him.
That's awesome.
An hour a day keeps CPS away.
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome.
And so that's how he became a single dad.
Did you give him clues like, you notice that you're very relaxed today? You notice that you're very tired today? It's like just sort of pepper it throughout, like
You notice small stains in the front of your pants.
But mostly that he was feeling a little tired. So it was like, just I would tell him, you're feeling a little tired. And he's like, oh, that's probably just the devil doing whatever he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, and the thing is, he got more powerful. He actually said, I want people in the kingdom to watch me whenever this devil takes over. Well, once he got shit like Dimension Door and like wings for his Eidolon, it was like I kept on making it clear that they have somebody watching him when he's and everything. Yeah, he just stands up and Dimension Doors out of the room, and then he's gone for the rest of the evening. And then he's back. Then he's back in his bed like 45 minutes later, and that's it.
Haven't laid some fucking pipe.
Exactly. It was a good kind of like little mini screw over thing because
literally.
Yeah, it was good.
Yes, literally.
Never mind.
Literally a screw over.
All right, folks.
All right, guys, I'm going to take off.
Yeah, I just want to, again, I said it before, I just want to thank you guys again. I love playing games with you guys. I want to get together and just drink some drinks and enjoy each other's companies. And so Tesla's not trying to kill me,
Chaosium Con.
but I'm compelled by the characters you play, and I hope you guys have a fantastic Christmas or whatever you celebrate. And let's kill some skeletons in 2022.
Yep. So whatever game Bridget Jeffries runs at Chaosium Con, we're gonna sign up at least.
We're gonna load that fucking table right
all of us.
Me, Tyler, Tara, Jason.
Yes, let's do it.
Everybody's just gonna load up that table.
Or we'll make a run something off the books.
That's right. And happy Festivus for everybody. And may the
Mitchell
feast
still owns us.
Yes.
Festivious.
Yeah.
So,
Is she only running one? The entire
she's only
weekend?
running one.
I think she was saying that.
She's on the Chaosium Con panel though.
Oh, so she's like
we
all
can go
public.
ask her dumb questions.
Yeah, we can go ask her dumb questions like, I've never written a Call of Cthulhu game before, and I
What
was
would you
wondering,
recommend?
what
I
would
can
you
see her now.
recommend?
Do not
No.
call
My
on him. Do not
retribution.
call on him. No.
This is my retribution for her for getting me on the news.
On the news.
Yeah.
It's like I tried to use the X rule on my in my table, and then somebody said they were offended by the X rule. So like, how do I handle that? Do I have them tap the X anyway?
How do you tap the X if they're offended
Is it
already?
like
I'm not
magic?
sure.
Do I like turn it sideways after you tap it, or is it used for the round, or like?
Well, you
know what,
honestly,
Anybody
though,
use it again?
what
You
I
gotta
do,
get is there an untap phase?
what I do think we should ask
Can I
her.
Group of
spend
people
mana?
before the talk as proxies, all to ask these similar questions. Give them a sheet. Like, here's your list of questions. If you get called on, this is the question you need to ask. Like,
Well,
never know where
Do I
they go.
get mana to spend? Can I summon another creature or something?
He would
Like-
murder me.
what I do think we should ask is just a good segue to get James and Eric thinking about when we're going to try to resolve this is what happens when the reality of the Call of Cthulhu's like combat rules strikes a really good character and he gets shot and he's fucked, and that's where you leave the session. He's bleeding out.
Yeah.
And then it's just all talking from there. Like we gotta figure that out. It's gonna be crazy.
So I will after the first year sometime I will run the 100 Acre Wood game.
I will absolutely.
I want to be in that. I've asked you for years.
Bring it back.
Dibs.
Bring you back. You want to play again?
Yeah.
I just like knowing it exists.
Hey, you need to come up with a sequel.
He
I have a
has.
sequel.
There already is.
I
one.
want to play the sequel.
There has been a sequel that has been run.
I want to play the
I
series.
didn't get in that game.
All right.
It was called Something's Wrong in the Neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I actually mashed up Winnie the Pooh with Mr. Rogers.
All right. Before you continue,
And all I'm going to say is King Friday is the king in yellow.
I'm going to read one last thing. And this is a first-time chat from our friend, Buff Dragon, who said, thank y'all.
Welcome, Buff Dragon.
Right? Who said, thank y'all for hours of entertainment. Which means, man, thank you. Thank you, actually, for spending hours of your life with us.
God, you watch us? What's wrong with you?
Right. We look forward to more. Look forward to more in the future. So let's commit to doing cool things in 2022, and actually telling. This is Okay, so I'll commit to telling people when we're gonna do the shit that we're gonna do.
When we're gonna do cool things.
But yeah,
We
so
need a calendar. I was thinking about that. We need like a calendar.
All
So
right,
like
so
when
we
we
need a
commit to a date.
I'm gonna ask you all to raise your finger. Help me do this for the last time this year. Raise your finger and let's hit the button together. Ready? Let's go in and hit the button.